Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
And the ball off and into the end zone goes Sean Tucker. Over the middle, wide open, and there into the end zone goes Kyle Pitts for the touchdown. Cousins open. He's got Pitts. Cuts to the inside, gets taken down inside the 20-yard line. 5 targets, 5 catches, 93 yards. Cousins going that way again. He's got it. Touchdown. What a night for Kyle Pitts.
Obviously really excited to be here. There's 4 really great teams in this region, and I think it's going to be just a super competitive weekend for volleyball, and exciting that it's in Lincoln and our fans can see it. And I'm crossing my fingers for a great turnout for the first match, and then it carries on into the second match.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live.
Our boy.
Presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. DB is on his way to a speaking engagement in Oklahoma. The Oklahomans for Nebraska Association. They have graciously invited him down. He's been down there before.
They really make an association for anything these days.
They do, but I appreciate that there's a group of people in Oklahoma who presumably decided at some point that Oklahoma sucks and they'd rather root for the proper end of that rivalry.
If we're stuck here, we might as well make the best of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do what we can.
Absolutely.
That was actually just every day in Western Nebraska.
if we're stuck here,
how do I get to the city? How do I get to the lights?
What are those bright lights in the
It
distance?
was so very, very off-brand story, but when the Sydney High football team, before, of course, their magical run to the state championship this past year.
Absolutely.
Notably. The furthest they had ever been to the postseason was in 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, 2013, when I was a part of the team, didn't play. I was not very helpful. But we went and played at Gretna when Gretna was originally a Class B team.
Okay.
And we stayed in Lincoln the night before because it's a 6-hour drive to Gretna. And we saw, we were driving up towards Lincoln, and there was, the nighttime, haze of the city lights.
Like the glow.
And everyone went to the front of the bus, and they're like, what is that? We're, going over the hill by Seward. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And we saw it, everyone was like, is that it's like we were in an apocalyptic movie and we saw civilization.
Have you seen the Chernobyl series on HBO?
Yes, yeah.
It's like when they all go out to the bridge and they're like, "What's that glow? What is that?"
It's marked in my memory for sure. It's one of those key memories because now I drive between Lincoln and Omaha quite a bit, covering games or doing whatever, and I don't even think twice about it, but that was one of the more key moments of my life at that point.
When I was a kid and we were coming back from my grandma's house or whatever in Iowa, I would always get excited when I could see the haze because it meant we were close. I was like, all right, we're almost there. I could see the glow, the beacon on the hilltop of Omaha, Nebraska. I was like, we're almost out of this crap hole of Iowa. Let's go.
So you're from how do I say this, a mid-sized town in Nebraska when there's a spotlight on your water tower for your town. Because York has got that. Sydney's got it.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, it is.
Well,
not that you go west of Lincoln ever, but
I have been west of Lincoln.
But this calendar year have you been west of Lincoln?
This calendar year.
By car?
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I'm trying to think. No, certainly not. I have been in my life.
That's actually, to me, that's incredible.
So
that's crazy to me.
I can probably, if we're not counting places where I'm leaving the state,
okay,
I can probably count on one hand the number of times my destination has been west of Lincoln, but east of Colorado. I'm almost certain.
Okay.
And I played small school college basketball, so that's most of it.
So it was every time you went to Curtis.
I forgot about Curtis.
There you go.
So it's on two hands. Definitely on two hands.
Okay.
I think I can only think of twice. That was not directly college basketball related. I went to Kearney once, and I went to McCook once.
Oh, the McCook trip had to be brutal.
Oh yeah, it was. So I went for.
Speaking of which, I hope Derek from Alliance calls in. I feel like we have beef. I want to bury this beef. It's one-sided. It's me. So I need.
Oh, he did talk trash about Sydney.
He did. Yeah. No, I think if I remember right, he said, "Well, people from Sydney don't like us and that is true." So,
fair.
People from Sydney, we are highfalutin.
You do be hating.
We are better than everyone else out there.
Are you the Eagleton of Western Nebraska?
I don't understand the reference.
Parks and Rec?
Oh, yes, we are Eagleton. Correct. Sorry, I thought you were going like Archie comics on me or something.
I'm not that old.
Well, I love hitting my parents with that every once in a while. I'll be like, Dad, how was life in black and white?
Be like, are you big Happy Days guy? You know what's funny?
What was it like when they outlawed dancing?
I actually was a big Happy Days guy.
Were you?
It was on syndication when I was
fair.
a kid.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I was like, man, Fonzie really is the coolest guy alive.
Yeah. If you were a child of like the mid 2000s or like early 2010s when they would run all those like Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, like the older programs, like George Lopez always played on Nickelodeon, you did get put into a little bit of a time warp.
Yes, 100%.
Because you'd watch George Lopez, you're like,
what's happening here?
They don't have those cars anymore.
What era is this? So when I Nick at Night when I was a kid, when I was really young, and this is gonna make me sound very old, but they actually ran these for a long time. They were running like I Love Lucy on Nick at Night.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. When like in the 90s, they were like that was a thing still. Kobe, are you from Curtis, Nebraska? He said my neck of the woods out there. So you must be a big NCTA guy. Kobe.
Curtis, Nebraska mention is insane. That's awesome. Dank wants to know if you've ever branded calves out in the sandhill.
Absolutely not.
Do you want to? Do you know how great that Hurrdat Sports content would be if I took Omaha people and we went to Jacobsen Cattle Incorporated and we went and branded cows?
Here's the way I will do this.
Okay.
You have to. I get that they have to have the Jacobsen whatever your like
brand
emblem is.
Yeah, the brand.
I also need a Hurrdat Sports brand. I want to brand them with Hurrdat Sports.
I think we have to get it registered, but that shouldn't be that hard. Because
like
I have a brand, it's like a Christmas gift.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like you can get one. Maybe you don't
need it registered.
Just because like you have to have it like registered. I think through like some agriculture, or maybe I'm making this up completely, but I assume that you probably have to have it to like be like, hey, I'm like these are my cows.
Les, are you listening? Yeah. You probably know. He deals with a different part of the bowl, but
the BS.
No.
Oh.
Well, I guess.
Dang.
I guess
horns?
The S could stand for the thing that he deals with. Yeah.
That's a bunch of BS.
Thank you.
Not
what
Bo was talking about.
Bo was talking real BS.
So Asian Wyatt says Nick at Night and in my day was Mr. Ed and My Three Sons. I don't know what My Three Sons
Never
is.
heard of either of those.
Mr. Ed was the talking horse.
Oh.
You don't know about
BoJack Horseman?
No, that's a different thing.
Do you think if you took like a show from today and planted it in the 80s, it would just blow their minds? They would have no clue what to do with it.
Yeah.
Like if you took like BoJack Horseman and it was just like 1985, here you go. They wouldn't get it.
Put in like, oh, it's a very different type of humor.
Right.
I've made that argument with NBA players in the past. Like if you put Jamal Crawford in 1960,
greatest basketball player in history
of all time.
Yes,
of all time.
He'll be like, you don't understand how good Jamal Crawford was.
Yeah, like that's why.
How far does that go? Like, does JaVale McGee?
Oh my God, JaVale McGee would look like Wilt.
JaVale McGee.
You'd see JaVale McGee with a little sign holding up 100, like
100 rebounds, 100 turnovers, 100 points,
100 missed shots. Like and I love JaVale McGee. I do. He was on some of those Warriors teams.
He was.
I low-key had this huge affinity for JaVale
honestly,
McGee.
is JaVale the Jameis Winston of the NBA?
I think he kind of is. I think
he's not as goofy weird, but like his play is goofy weird like Jameis.
Yeah, he's not as gregarious as Jameis is, who's really, I feel like, embraced kind of this persona of himself. And if you ask Kenny Bell, our teammate here at Hurrdat Sports,
Kenny.
Yes, Kenny. He roomed with Jameis when they were rookies, and so like he knows Jameis really well.
Yeah,
and according to him, this is just who Jameis is. So I believe him.
Every day,
but
I go out on the road.
It does seem like he's sort of just like, hey, people kind of like me for who I am. Like, let's lean into it.
Yeah. Did you see
you can't miss.
It was a couple weeks ago. He had told the Giants, he was like, whatever it takes to win, whatever, blah, blah. It was when he had that touchdown catch against the Lions, right?
Yeah, when he like lined up as a tight end, basically.
He had said, if I have to play tight end to win for this team, I'll do it. It's like, hey, you're last in the NFC East. Like, it's not that deep. But cool. Thank you, Jameis. Keep being Jameis.
I do love that. Whenever I have that conversation with people who are like, man, you really got to give like Bob Cousy his due. And I was like, do I? Because I feel like Fred VanVleet would blow their minds in 1960.
Yeah, that'd actually be very fun is to do the opposite, too. Like, you take, like, the bad boy Pistons and put them in today.
Oh, God, half of those guys couldn't play in the league. Like, some of those – there's guys – I remember the exact moment when Andre Roberson's NBA career was over. And it was when Steph Curry hit that, like, 38-footer against Oklahoma City for the game winner, the double bang.
The double bang.
Because his entire purpose in life was to not take one step too far back in that situation because he was one of the worst offensive players in the league. And the moment he backpedaled one step too far, and you can see, go back and watch this. Yep. You can see on the sideline, his teammates are like, get up on him. And then I think you have a couple going like, no. They're like not surrender cobering quite yet, but they're like, they're halfway there, much like Bon Jovi. And they like that is the exact moment his career was over. I think he hung on for a couple years after that, but like it was the writing was on the wall.
So I wonder, where does this line start? Because
of the worst player today that would dominate in 1960,
or even the opposite. Like even if you go back,
there are guys that I do think would have translated. Like Wilt wouldn't have scored 100 in a game, and he wouldn't have averaged 50 over a season. But Wilt would be great today.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not playing janitors anymore, so that would make a difference.
That does help.
Yeah, but like Steph wouldn't. I mean, the 3-point line was obviously kind of influential for him, but
sure. But even without that, like Steph without a 3-point line is just Pete Maravich, who averaged 40 a game in college.
Yeah, and then his ability to move around the ball and to be able to just keep moving too would have just dominated.
Also, like people don't give Curry enough credit for this. Like he is one of the top like 2 or 3 ball handlers in the league.
Yes,
and to what like these guys were like, they're like Stanley dribbling, you know. They were like, let me dribble out the clock here, and they're just running around. They move in real life like you used to have to juke in old video games where it was like in big, like they're like, look at me run around in this circle. Look how elusive I am. And it's like, what are we doing here, guys?
Yeah, the juke mechanic in the old Madden games was frustrating.
Yes.
Because it was always like a step back juke. It was never like a real like
yeah, if you wanted to actually juke, you had to use like the controller and be like, and figure it out that way. That's how those guys moved in real life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think they'd have a hard time staying in front of Steph.
Does it apply to NFL?
Probably.
I think receivers especially. Like
receivers.
It probably started with Moss, right? Like Randy.
Also, can you just imagine putting Michael Vick in a game ever? Like, what are we doing?
Hey, Michael Vick, you are now on the 80s Giants.
Like,
congrats on your Super Bowls.
If you put Michael Vick on like instead of Fran Tarkington and like the 1970s Vikings, we'd be like, that's the greatest team of all time.
Yeah. Also, if
like Fran Tarkington was probably running like a 5.040, and they're like, he's the fastest man alive. Never seen anyone move that way at quarterback position. You know, like again, there's like your Jim Browns who probably translate because he was a monster. But
I'm trying to remember. So this is one of my favorite stats. You ready for this? 1978, Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Terry Bradshaw won the NFL MVP. Do you know what his stats were for that season?
I think he's sub 50 completion percentage.
He was 56%.
Okay. He's probably like 2,400 yards.
2,900. So actually not.
Okay,
yeah,
pretty
a little bit higher. Yes, this is where it gets real wonky.
He's definitely got like 18 interceptions.
28 and 20. What would 28 and 20 would get you fired?
28 and 20 is Jameis. Like literally. It's 28.
Ball is out of your hands.
He won the MVP, Offensive Player of the Year. He was the AP first team quarterback, and the Steelers won the Super Bowl that season.
So
that is crazy.
28 and 20 is a bad Eli Manning year. Basically.
Yeah.
Like he had multiple really high interceptions. Like that's a bad Eli Manning year.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's wild. MVP
of
the league. Best player alive.
And then the next year he actually went back-to-back MVP. Oh no, he got 4th in the MVP voting. He finished with 54% completion rate, 3,724 rushing yards,
passing yards.
Or passing yards, yeah.
Well, rushing yards, that'd be insane.
Good for him.
That would be Derrick Henry.
20.
Can you imagine?
That is a good argument. Sorry, Franco. Also, could Derrick Henry take the pads in which he has like today's NFL pads and go back? Because I don't know if you want to give Derrick Henry like the old 1970s pads and make him look 3 times larger than he is already.
Everybody would be terrified of him. Like the giant.
How big is this human?
I used to think some of those guys were so big because they're wearing basically hockey goalie pads.
Yes.
And I used to think part of this was Mighty Duck's fault. I used to think every hockey goalie was enormously fat because of their pads. Like when I was a kid. Because I was like, oh, those guys are the huge guys on the team. And then they'd be like, oh, this is the goalie. And I was like, that guy weighs 140 pounds.
There's a couple of those guys on that defense that could hang today, though.
And
like
on the
Steelers,
yeah.
I would say yes, but you would have to update their weights.
Yeah, like their strength and conditioning and stuff like that, which I'm willing to do. I'm willing to say, like, hey, they get modern whatever.
Like Jack Lambert, Hall of Fame linebacker, one of the best of, the Steel Curtain, all that stuff, 6'4", 220. And he was their inside linebacker. He'd actually
that's not terrible.
Relatively,
like,
yes.
That's not terrible.
Yeah.
Your offensive line is where you're going to get.
Offensive line. What was Mean Joe Green? I want to know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because he would be another one that
would definitely translate.
So a bit on the lighter side. Did he play D tackle or was he a defensive end, Shane? You got your head beat in by him a couple times, right?
He's probably DE.
I thought he was an end.
6'4", 276.
Oh, so that hangs.
Yeah,
that'll hang for a defensive end.
6'4" is a little short for a DN.
Not necessarily. I mean, that's okay. It depends on what you're like. That's all right. There's guys on that side that would translate, but I think it's the skill positions that kill you.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I cannot imagine any corner covering like Calvin Johnson.
That's a good point.
TK says he played DT, so
okay. See, and
he's probably right.
Yeah, you'd probably still move him to defensive.
Yeah,
end.
you could probably
276
you could probably move him to defensive end, or be like, hey, you go put on 20 pounds.
Great. Now we're just talking Huskers again. How did we get here?
He's too small for D tackle.
Joe Green was too small.
He could never stop the run.
What a hypothetical. Oh, man.
I understand that Mel Blount was a 6'3", 200-pound corner. I don't think he ran the 4.3 that Calvin Johnson is hanging.
Also, they notably made a rule against Mel Blount from physically assaulting receivers on the line of scrimmage. I think they called it the Mel Blount rule, where he created the 5-yard gap because he was shivving people to death at the line of scrimmage.
Prison ball.
Yes.
Apparently, Rico, who are you talking about, though, is a 254-pound kicker? Because I know you're not talking about Janikowski. Because he was at least 280.
The thick kicker?
Thicker? I was a big Sebastian Janikowski guy.
Was he a first-round draft pick?
He was. Yeah.
That's incredible. I remember I was
Florida State
Seminole. Really?
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I was watching live the game that they trotted him out for that 76-yard field goal, and he was like, sure, why not?
Give it a go.
And what's funny now, we actually wouldn't blink as much seeing that go out.
You try Brandon Aubrey out there, you're just like, I think he's got it.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I thought his range capped out at 72. Let's see how this goes.
As long as he's not blinded by the sun in Dallas, he'll be totally fine.
Dude, that was.
Would you, if you could redraft the entire NFL, every player's available, right? They
history.
Just like this season.
Okay.
Right. So this season they're starting over. Everybody gets redraft, right? Like you're doing the Madden model.
Ooh.
Is Brandon Aubrey a first-round pick?
I don't know about first-round pick.
But think about it. You get to 32.
Yeah.
So you're going to value probably, and I would argue this. I think you'd value offensive line and defensive line first because I think the gap between the best and your middle tier is significant. But then you get to a point where you're like, we got to score. And Aubrey's almost a guarantee when you get to the 45.
50?
Yeah,
pretty cool. You get to midfield. I think
he's a second rounder. If you take it in terms of 64 players.
Here's the thing that you have to think about, though, right? So if we're doing 32 pick drafts,
DB would be so proud of us right now. We haven't stayed on one single straight thought this entire time.
I was actually talking to him and Adam McClintock this morning. We'll have to bring that up. But I think the problem here he wouldn't be a second rounder, I don't think, because you've got to fill 5 O-line spots. You got to fill 3 or 4 defensive line spots. Like, so that's 9 guys per team right there.
Yeah.
Before you ever get, so you're talking about like 100-round draft probably, or 60-round draft.
Right. Yeah.
So Brandon Aubrey's not going until like at best. I mean, I gave you 9 rounds right there before you even get to a quarterback. If we're going lines first, right?
Well, I'm not saying you have to go lines first. I'm just saying.
No,
like,
but I tend to agree with you. Like, I would go at the very least. I'm going in some order, probably D end, offensive tackle, quarterback. That's my first 3 rounds.
Right. Yeah.
And maybe a lockdown corner.
And truthfully, it depends on like who your GM would be, like what your philosophy would be, because Jim Harbaugh would probably say, we're just drafting all linemen. We're going to do both sides of the line or offensive line, and we're just going to make it work this way. So, yeah, I agree with you. But I don't know. I thought there's going to be someone out there that would say a guaranteed 3 points at half field every single time is going to be the best chance for you to stay in games. And so you could argue that, especially with like.
I think you're talking like high teens at the earliest, like rounds wise.
Okay.
And listen, the only reason I say that is because every time somebody has drafted a kicker high, they're like, yeah, why'd we do that?
That is fair.
Like, famously, Sebastian Janikowski did not help them win a lot of games.
Yeah,
for the Raiders.
but it was really cool when he was there, though.
It was.
Actually, he did, because there were games that he would kick like 4 times, and that'd be the only times they'd score, and they'd win 12-10.
Shane, don't make me look up the Raiders records the year
During the Janikowski era.
I understand that he helped them win games.
Yeah.
I'm saying they were not a significantly better team because of Janikowski.
They would not have won any games without him.
He was the classic meme of like, Janikowski bangs a 55-yarder as time expires. Raiders lose 15-3.
Yeah, he was like the Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani on the Angels of kickers.
He was the only one that would score for him.
They're like Sebastian Janikowski, 4 for 4, 3 50-yard field goals, and the Raiders lost 28-12.
Shane, what's your top 3 Raiders of the past 20 years?
Past 20 years?
I can go mine. Sebastian Janikowski.
No.
Darius Hayward-Bay. And
Jamarcus Russell.
Jamarcus Russell.
Oh, jeez.
My top 3. Yeah.
Terrell Pryor.
No, I would go Michael Crabtree. Mike Crabtree was a nuisance on that Raiders team.
Yeah, I think of Crabtree as a 49er.
Oh, yeah.
That's where he got drafted, you know.
Almost caught a touchdown in the Super Bowl. That would have been cool.
Certainly would have.
Why didn't he do that?
Well, because there's pretty aggressive pass interference on that play, as we talked about earlier.
Can we go 25 so I can go Charles and Jerry Rice and Gannon and?
Sure.
Okay.
Why not? So, okay, Janikowski played from 2000 to 2016 for the Raiders.
Wow, good for him. What a career.
Listen, he's an icon. He's a legend.
This is the most Raiders talk this show's ever had.
And will ever have.
Did you like him when he was in college?
Oh, I loved him at Florida State. He was terrific. I loved the fact that Bobby Bowden said, we have special international rules for Sebastian every time he would break curfew, which was every time. Because famously, like people wanted him suspended for the national championship game, and it's like he was in New Orleans. What did you think was going to happen? Like Sebastian was a famous like partier.
Yeah.
And so they're like, yeah, I just made him run till he threw up on the stadium steps, but there was zero. This is a man who had lost a lot of football games with bad kickers. He's like, there's a 0% chance Sebastian Janikowski was not playing in the national championship.
Rightfully so.
So the first 3 years, the Raiders were pretty good. That was the end of Gruden, beginning of Callahan when they went to the playoffs and lost the Super Bowl. After that, we're looking at 4-12, 5-11, 4-12, 2-14, 4-12, 5-11, 5-11, 8-8, 8-8, 4-12, 4-12, 3-13, 7-9, and then his last year with the Raiders, 12-4.
Wow. Wow.
Why you got to be bringing all that up?
Because you said he helped them win games, Shane, and he didn't.
He did. He helped them win the few games that they won.
Do you think they go back and be like, yeah, that was worth a first rounder?
I'd agree. I think so.
Okay.
It was worth it just for the vibes.
Just
because then you're always like, we have a first rounder on our roster.
At all times.
At all times, no matter what. He is always
it's okay
available.
to be positive too.
Yeah. Come on, Ravi. It's okay to be positive.
Mervin, I know you want to know if we know anything about Robinson and Raiola. I promise when we do, we will tell you.
Yeah, people who are wanting anything actually out of this first hour of the show are not getting
it's
what
not
they,
like
what they intended.
So this happens sometimes like
TK Nnamdi Asomugha.
Oh, that's a good one.
Great Oakland Raider.
Lockdown corner.
Yeah.
And then fell off a map immediately. Just immediately.
Yeah.
What about Carson Palmer? Wasn't he a Raider for a minute?
He was a Raider for a minute, and then didn't he try to retire and then left and then got traded to the Cardinals?
That
right.
was with the Bengals. He tried to retire from the Bengals.
Right. Okay. So then moved to went to the Raiders after that. Yeah.
I listen. It's not like we forgot about Robinson and Raiola. I promise if something happens, we will tell you. As off the rails as this show can be.
Yeah.
Generally, when something pertinent happens to Nebraska football, we will let you know.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't forget about it. We're not burying the lead. Just nothing's happened yet.
If you want to forget about something, forget about the Raiders from 2005 to about 2025.
Well, see, that's why we had to pull up all the stats for the wins that they did.
Then we would miss the iconic 12-4 Jack Del Rio, Sebastian Janikowski swan song.
People forget he got fired.
Just
the
forget
next year.
about it.
He got fired the next year for John Gruden. Which would John Gruden at Michigan make any sense?
Given his history, that seems on brand for Ward Manuel.
He's a real Michigan man.
Yeah, in the new sense of that word, where you're kind of a POS.
Yeah, the last two coaches don't exactly have. I mean, they have.
And listen,
good on-field records. Their off-field records.
Not
great.
I love Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
From his days with the 49ers. I actually liked him before that. I really liked him with this. You want to go deep cut here. So I really liked him when he was at San Diego.
I thought you were going to say San Jose State.
Not the Chargers. When he was coaching at University of San Diego, which I believe was a Division III football program at the time. And they had this quarterback named Josh Johnson who has played for literally every team in the league.
Yeah.
He was like
He's a 49er.
He was a 49er like 4 different times.
Yes.
He was like I think it's legitimately like he gets cut, he gets re-signed. He is I think played for 20 teams in the league.
That dude loves hotels.
He likes the my weekly stays, It's a good deal.
Home 2 suites.
Yes. But so I like Jim Harbaugh going back a long ways, and they got the Stanford job, and he upset USC that one year when they were terrible, and they were like 50-point dogs to USC.
Yeah.
And then he turns Stanford around. I really liked him with the 49ers. So I've always liked Jim Harbaugh, even when he was with Michigan. I've never really had a particular problem with Michigan as a program because I didn't really like Ohio State, so it kind of felt natural to halfway root for Michigan, right? And this goes back to being a kid. But they are running, and this is what I was talking with DB and Adam McClintock about this morning. They are running what might be the sleaziest athletic department of the 2020s.
Ooh.
Because you can't go back much further than that because Penn State still exists.
Yes, right.
And they definitely ruled the 2010s.
And obviously context matters within its time frame because the Penn State stuff was awful in any era. The Ohio State stuff of the mid-2000s was bad, but then you add in like what it comparative to today with the tattoo gate and all that other stuff, like that wasn't really comparable.
It wasn't. First of all, I didn't think it was that bad at the time, and it's all 100% legal now.
Yes, yeah.
So I don't care. It's like the Kelvin Sampson like getting fired from Indiana thing. It's like he sent too many text messages. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like he had a 5-year show cause for that.
Yep.
For sending too many text messages? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, no, Michigan has to be running for it because they've been under investigation every single year, whether it's internal or NCAA
and
probe.
It's multiple things.
Yes.
Now.
And everyone is different than the last.
So, you have one of the larger cheating scandals in college football, I think, history.
Yep.
That
ended in a national championship.
That impacted a national championship.
Yes.
So that obviously magnifies the scale of the cheating.
And also, people don't give enough credence to the fact that investigation was going on as the season was happening.
Yeah,
like we didn't.
Jim Harbaugh was suspended for games in their national championship season.
We didn't go back and be like, "Oh, they won these games because of this." It was happening during the season,
real time.
Yes.
And then they hired a guy who would end up being suspended for his role in that cheating, and then he does a different kind of cheating that has brought his entire world down. And like, I don't know that people appreciate if half of what is being rumored or reported is true about what happened after Sherrone Moore got fired, he's going to prison, like actual prison time. This isn't just like, oh, a guy lost his job and got mad. And again, I don't know if it is or not.
He's got his hearing today.
Yes, on the charges that are right now. I think it's just alleged assault. If you believe some of the reporting that's been going on, it seems like alleged assault is a very light version of what they could have charged him for. Like, if you believe, like,
We will find out later today.
But it feels like attempted murder
is.
might have been on the table.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to like be dramatic. It like if any of this reporting is true, an attempted murder charge could have been on the table.
A standing head coach in power.
Yeah, like what are we?
Yeah.
This is the only thing I can think of that's even close. Is I think his name was Dave Bliss, the old Baylor head coach that helped cover up the murder of two of his players or one of his players. Like, that's sort of where my mind goes in terms of scale. But instead of Baylor, it would be like if that happened at Kansas in terms of like level of program. Right.
Yeah.
And so like
that is the weird part about this, right? That Sherrone Moore has all these other things that are happening with it. And yet the first thing everyone goes is, well, who are they going to hire as their head coach?
Which
it's not about, the existential crisis of where is the state of this program. Like, we don't throw around the term lack of institutional control anymore. This is lack of institutional control in its definition.
Yeah, and Ward Manuel, the AD, has sat over all of it.
Yes.
He's been the AD since 2016. We were looking this up before the show. So he didn't hire Jim Harbaugh, but he was there for most of his tenure, was there through the cheating scandal, hired Sherrone Moore. And here's the part that is really, really gross from the Michigan standpoint. There's a lot of that's really gross from the Sherrone Moore standpoint and probably a lot of other people involved. But here's the part that's really gross from the Michigan standpoint. It appears that they were trying to plan his firing out based on either A, how many games he won, and B, how much they thought it would impact their recruiting class. Like it wasn't just like, oh, we found this out. This is bad. We got to get rid of the guy, right? Because, and I think Josh Pate said this, so I'll give him credit here. He goes, not all fireable offenses end in firings, right?
Especially in college football.
Especially at high level positions, really anywhere in the world, but yeah, in college football, right? So like if you're winning enough, and I said this and DB was uncomfortable with it, or he wasn't uncomfortable, he wasn't sure if it was true.
Yeah. Even 24 hours ago, the information in which you guys would have been able to talk about was not the same as which we have today.
Yes. And I sit here and I go, I genuinely wonder if Sherrone Moore beats Ohio State, if they just find a different way to handle this. Because it's not like Ward Manuel's been real, I don't know, like overly moral about or principled in the way that he's handled things. He's sort of just like, hey, I'm going to try and keep Michigan football on the rails regardless of what the optics look like or what that means or what the possible right thing to do is. And so, like, I don't think Michigan as an administration and institution is getting enough flack for how crappy they're being, not just in this situation, but over the last several years. And you could probably stretch that out over to a decent amount of Ward Manuel's time. I mean, if he got hired in 2016, I think the cheating goes back to 2021. We're talking like half of his time as AD has been under this like sleazy athletic department vibe that they've got going on. Like,
and strictly football, right? Like there's not,
as far as I know, as far as I know, there's not, I mean, like Dusty May is an incredible head coach in basketball, but when you think of Michigan, you think football.
It's football.
Right?
It's always football. Right?
And to be fair, most athletic departments in the power conferences, it's your athletic department goes as the football team goes.
Right.
In 98% of cases, right? Duke is the outlier, but like Duke and Kansas and Kentucky are basically the outliers there, right? But like I don't think Michigan is getting enough flack for how terrible they're being in this situation.
And then, of course, the underlying card of the entire thing is that Sherrone Moore probably wasn't really the greatest coach to be coaching the Michigan Wolverines anyway. I think that was a very realistic part of the conversation. And so, you don't want it to be like, okay, well, whatever it took to get rid of Sherrone Moore. And if they had a certain scandal, and like you said, if the Ohio State game went differently.
If he was better at his job like this, he doesn't get fired.
Yeah.
I'm convinced of that. Like maybe it's not as linear as Ohio State to not losing his job. If he's just better at his job, he's not getting fired for this.
Yeah.
Like I can almost guarantee that.
A lot of things seem to get covered up when you win.
There would be a civil suit, but like if it escalated to that point between the staffer and Sherrone Moore or the staffer and the university, and it would get settled out of court and they would pay her off, which it seems like Sherrone Moore tried to do anyway, which by the way, I don't know. I'm guessing here. that Sherrone Moore doesn't have the authority without some sort of athletic department approval to give a $40,000 raise to an administrative assistant.
Yeah.
Which I think was her title. I don't want to be disrespectful. I believe that was her
Yeah.
title. Executive assistant, maybe.
I think it was like a associate or assistant of some kind to the head coach. Like it was specifically to that position.
But like, unless that money's coming directly out of his pocket, pretty sure athletic department has to sign off on that. And if I'm an athletic department, I'd be like, why is their salary doubling this year?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what? That looks strange. I don't know. Maybe I care more about that than other people do, but seems like a weird line item to just be like, hey, what's that, bud?
Yeah.
What do we have going on here? So like this whole thing just reeks of, and it goes into the football part where if you're a potential football coach looking at this Michigan job, are you like, hey, why is that guy making the decision?
That's a good point.
Like who
you work for matters.
Ask
Bo Pelini.
Who you work for matters, and also ask Bo Pelini, ask Frank Solich, like ask a lot of Nebraska football coaches over the course of the years who didn't do anything in the neighborhood of what Ward Manuel apparently or allegedly has done, right?
True.
So you look at this job and you go, okay, A, why does that guy still have his job?
Yep.
B, why does he get to make this decision?
And he gets to keep his job.
And C, do I want to work for this guy under those conditions? And I think that dramatically narrows down your list of candidates more than people think. Because in general, if Michigan comes open, I think, yeah, that's a big job that can go pluck anybody from anywhere, and it would not surprise me. I'm not saying everybody says yes.
Yeah.
But under normal circumstances, if Michigan comes open and they go, hey, we want Lincoln Riley, we got him, I'm not stunned. Or we want Kalen DeBoer, we got him, I'm not stunned, especially with, it's not totally clear how much Tuscaloosa loves Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah.
But like, so that under normal circumstances would not surprise me at all. But now, with Ward Manuel apparently still keeping his job and making the decision with the help of a search firm, it sounds like, on who to hire as the next head coach of Michigan football, I think your list starts looking very strange. And I think you have to look at guys that want to be at a program like Michigan so badly. And I don't even mean like a Michigan man. I mean a high-profile power conference program.
Yeah.
That want to be at that type of institution so badly that they are willing to do so under toxic circumstances.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's almost like you just got to get the football coach, right? Like, you're not going to grab a guy that's like Matt Rule, who's going to build up a program and wants to be like enveloped and developed like within the institution and everything else. I think you just go get the football coach who is so strictly focused on one single goal, on just being like, I just want to coach on Saturdays and I want to win and I'll do whatever it takes there and I'm not worried about any of the other noise. You don't want that guy. You don't want the guy that's going to be intertwined with the rest of the program.
Honestly, I think you have to get a guy that's sort of seen as damaged goods. Those are the guys that are willing to make sacrifices for taking a job that is normally a good job that is not currently in good circumstances.
Well, then that guy just got hired by your little brother. It was Pat Fitzgerald.
Well,
that's who it was.
That's one of them.
Yes.
I also look at, I think Brian Kelly's on the table.
Jimbo Fisher.
I think Jimbo Fisher's on the table. Those are the two names that I keep coming back to because those are guys that I think want to be in this type of position badly enough and have made enough money getting fired from other institutions that they're like, yeah, I'll take that risk.
Yeah.
Now, does Michigan, because it's either if you want a high-profile guy, and that sort of seems like a Michigan thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they're Brady Hoking this thing again.
Probably not.
Because
getting Jim Harbaugh was a big deal.
Getting Jim Harbaugh was a huge deal, and Sherrone Moore was just a natural trying to continue that sort of string of success, right? That's the thing that a lot of teams do coming off of big runs there. So I think you look at it and you go, okay, outside of Brady Hoke, they've gone splashy higher quite a bit. Like Rich Rod was a big splashy higher.
Right. People forget he was the biggest name at the time.
He was a huge name.
Yeah.
Like what he was doing at West Virginia was unbelievable at the time, right? So you look at that and you go, okay, if they want a name that gives them credibility, which of those guys are in a position to take on a toxic situation because they want that level of job so badly? And it's a pretty short list.
Well, because it's toxic people taking a toxic job.
Exactly. Because they're like, nah.
Is there a more toxic coach in the NCAA football realm right now than Brian Kelly?
Probably not.
I mean,
probably not.
Notably when he was fired by LSU, everyone had some bad story to say about Brian Kelly.
Not a single person was like, "Hey, actually," besides his kid, his own son, and he didn't actually say anything nice. He just said "free BK," which I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, what do you mean free?
He wasn't
allowed to walk at senior day, so free him.
I
suppose?
guess free him to walk at senior day. I don't know. He wasn't detained. He just wasn't allowed to be there. But no, I sit there and I go, okay. So you're looking at kind of toxic head coaches, guys that are seen as damaged goods. You have Jimbo, you have Brian Kelly, and you mentioned Pat Fitzgerald already got hired. I think that's sort of the list, unless you can convince a guy like a B-tier coach, according to what Michigan is probably looking at, not that these guys are bad coaches, that either has Michigan roots that is willing to overlook this or probably isn't getting a shot like this ever again. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know,
but even if a
lot of people brought up a Jed Fish, and I don't know that he qualifies.
So that's a great example, because you look across the Big Ten slate, because usually if you're Michigan, you can look to all of your little siblings across your own conference and just say, all of these coaches should want to come here.
Under normal circumstances, if you go to Jed Fish and say, we want you to be the head coach at the University of Michigan, that is probably a done deal. But if you are successful at a current Big Ten or SEC program especially, why on earth would you take this job?
Because they should call Bielema, but he'll turn him down.
Yeah, Bielema's not taking it.
Right?
Bielema won't take this job.
And
not a chance.
A few years ago, Fickle would have been the right choice, but that's not a hot name either.
No, but he's the name they could probably get.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
So you're kind of going through the ring of all these different coaches that you may want to go for. All these guys are likely going to say no, or are on their own type of hot seat that you shouldn't call them anyway.
Yeah.
But we're in a weird part of the cycle. They just got through National Signing Day, which again is another egregious part of this, that they strategically planned to do it a week after, because they knew that
it makes it harder. It's not that the guys can't get out of it, but it makes it harder for guys to get out of their commitment.
So the only question I have then, and obviously we are 2 days past this, but do you think that there was a plan in place to hire another coach? Are they waiting for this certain timeline to continue, and they know who their next coach already is?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I do not. Because
so you think a search is actually ongoing?
So according to reports that I saw, and again, all this is speculative for the most part. According to the reports I saw, they hired a search firm immediately.
Yes.
Which means they have no idea what they're doing. Usually you don't hire a search firm if you have your guy lined up, because then you're just lighting $1 million on fire for no reason at all. And I get $1 million is not that much money to Michigan, but you still don't want to light it on fire for no reason at all. The fact, I think I saw the day that he got fired that it was reported that they had already hired a search firm. So that would be my indication that I also don't think the timing of this worked exactly how they wanted it to. I think it got accelerated a little bit. I think it got accelerated probably a few days faster than they wanted it to happen before they could get their ducks in a row. Yeah. So I don't think they have anybody.
Yeah, they definitely did not win the news cycle. That is for sure, because now it's strung out.
Oh, yeah. Well,
see, that was one thing, and I've always said this too.
Yeah.
Trev, when he was the AD, always wanted to win the news cycle. The way that, and if you were in radio, if you were in media, the way that certain news dumps came at certain times, depending on what the information was going to be, was always strategic, and it was always placed at specific times. Not saying that that's not the case anymore, but it was definitely you bury news dumps of bad news on Friday afternoon when, media rooms are usually lighter, that no one can really talk about it, and it kind of gets expelled by the time game day rolls around the next day, and it's whatever, right?
Yeah.
But this news coming out a week after National Signing Day, in the middle of the day on Wednesday afternoon, and then it continues to accelerate because then people have a full day of Thursday to look through rumors, reports, and whatnot. Friday then turns into an arraignment day. You've got all this different stuff that's going on. You become the news every single day, and you don't win the news cycle at all. And there's no way to win the news cycle when you can't control that news.
They would have to they'd have to convince Nick Saban to come rehab their entire program in order to win this news cycle back.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think they still have to fire Ward Manuel.
That's what I think.
I think you have to kind of clean house a little bit.
If you are Michigan, is your best bet not to, and this is one of the arguments that I had almost made with the Penn State job when we were talking about that a couple of weeks ago, is it not just in your best interest at this point, just say, hey, Biff, can you be our 1-year interim?
So that's what Todd just said.
Just do the Frank Reich thing when you were at Stanford and just say, hey, 1 year, thanks for your business. We really appreciate it. You're going to hold the foundation of this program together. keep us Michigan men, keep us tough as possible, and we'll conduct a full coaching search for whoever wants to come up. Because by that time, maybe you do get rid of Ward Manuel. Maybe there's more interest from Michaelan DeBoer. Maybe there's more interest from another target.
Well, at least you're at the front of the cycle next time too.
Yes.
Right. And it'll be a year removed from all of this nonsense. You'll have had a chance to clean house or clean up your image or whatever. I do think
1 year's a long time though.
I do think it's on the table that Biff gets this job for the whole year. Like, I think that is in play. And I think it might actually be the best move.
I think it is too. And honestly, Biff probably has to be okay with it, right? Like, it benefits him.
Oh, he'd definitely do it.
Right? It benefits him.
I would extort them like crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like,
that's a crazy, I mean, it is Michigan. So.
I mean, like, in the legal sense, I'd just be like, hey, you're desperate. I want $10 million a year.
Yeah.
Like, I want $10 million for this year. This is bad. I know you're firing me no matter how good of a job I do. There's no buyout. There's no firing fee,
and I would
whatever.
incentive-laden the hell out of that thing. I'd be like, listen, if I make the playoff, another $1 million.
Yeah,
if I win a playoff game, $1 million.
I want 10 straight up.
Mm-hmm.
If I win 8 games, $1 million. 9 games, another $1 million.
Beat Ohio State, $1 million.
Another $1 million. Make the playoff, another $1 million.
Yeah.
If I win the national title, double it.
Yep.
Like, seriously, like, why not?
Yep.
Like, who cares? If they win a national title, it's worth more than $20 million
Big Ten
to them
champion,
anyway.
another $1 million.
Absolutely. 5 probably for Big Ten champion. Shoot.
Anything.
Like, if I were Biff and because they're not going to go to him until they've exhausted other options. And then I'd be like, yeah, I know I am the only thing saving you from a completely lost football season. Because I actually do think a Biff Poggi team would be competitive.
And I mean,
I think they
came into Lincoln and they were tougher than Nebraska that day.
Well,
so
I thought they looked better with him as when he was interim this year than they did with Sherrone anyway. So, like, I don't think it's crazy that Michigan would be okay for a year with Biff Poggi. And I understand I'm probably saying his name wrong, and I just don't care. I don't like the soft G sound with Poggi.
Poggi.
It makes me uncomfortable.
Not
So
a Poggi guy?
I'm going to stick with Poggi.
Okay, so this is their tentative 2026 football schedule, which, as we've seen in recent years, can be changed. Western Michigan, Oklahoma, UTEP. And then their Big Ten slate is Indiana, Iowa, Michigan State, Penn State, UCLA, Minnesota, Oregon, Ohio State, Rutgers. In no particular order. Obviously, Ohio State's probably the final game of the year.
Okay, so Ohio State, Oregon. You said they have Indiana?
They have Indiana, and they have Michigan State and Penn State and Iowa. That's a tough slate.
That's pretty.
And obviously, like, it's not going to be. You're not going to convince a high-profile coach to come in just based off of the 2026 schedule, right?
No.
But if you are bringing a high-profile coach in
at this point,
part of that ramp is going to be, hey, how do we keep the talent we have in our program?
Yeah.
How do we keep building the program? And how do I get off of what is probably going to be a face plant to start and then work your way back up?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be fascinated to see how this plays out because I do think they're in a much more – this is probably the worst the Michigan job will ever be in terms of their candidate pool.
Yes.
Likely this is – unless something totally unforeseen happens, this is probably the worst the Michigan State job ever is. And it is probably the worst pool of candidates they will ever have for this particular job. So why not just give it to Biff for a year? The argument for a Kelly or a Jimbo is you make it like a 2 or 3 year bridge instead of a 1 year bridge. Mm-hmm. You pay them super top dollar, but make basically no buyout, right?
Which is their MO. I mean, well, they have been big buyout guys.
I would say they've been big buyout guys, but like that would be the deal. Be like, hey, you get this opportunity, but there's like very little buyout, like a very reasonable pre-negotiated buyout. Let's say it's like, hey, you're going to get $10 million a year, which puts you in the top 15 or whatever for coaches. But your buyout, no matter when we fire you, is $20 million. Like it's a very reasonable, wash our hands of it, walk away. But here's the thing with a Brian Kelly or a Jimbo Fisher is they are both somehow, despite not appearing to be pleasant people to be around, very, very good recruiters.
Yeah.
So load up the cupboard for a couple years at least. If they win, awesome. You don't have to worry about it, right? You can renegotiate the contract in a couple years. But if they don't, you've got at least some of those guys will stay. You've loaded up your recruiting classes for a couple years, and then you can go hire someone when you've gotten the stink of Ward Manuel and Sherrone Moore and one of the biggest cheating scandals in college football history in your rear view mirror a little bit more, and then say, okay, let's go get a guy that we should be able to get.
It would be interesting to see if Ward Manuel survives this because he's able to land a high-profile coach, how long that leash is, considering everything else that's happened under his tenure. Not even just the past 10 years, but you would say, well, they've won a national championship in football. They've been competitive in men's basketball. He's made some good hires here and there. You had a miss with Sherrone Moore is what it's looking like.
And oversaw one of the biggest cheating scandals in college football history.
Right.
It cannot be oversold.
If he is retained right now, as a report came out, I think last night, early this morning, that he is being retained as the athletic director, the only thing that could force him to lose his job then over the course of the next few weeks would be a completely bumbled coaching search in which he cannot find anyone, and the university has to step in to then name someone.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he'll have his job and he'll get to name this coach, which is wild to me.
Because I know you're calling for him because you've been a part of different like firms that you've mentioned yesterday. You look at scandals and you look at frauds and all that other stuff, right? So you can kind of point out when someone's kind of cheating the system a little bit.
Also, just like there's a pattern here with this guy. Like people look at patterns, they're like, oh well, it's worse to me when there are multiple different kinds of transgressions, which is where we landed this week with Michigan, right? Mm-hmm. If it's like, if it's all very specific, like, hey, these people kind of cheat at recruiting sometimes, it's like, okay, you know what you're dealing with, right? When you have a Ward Manual situation where you have a very specific football cheating scandal over here, and you have a bad hire of Sherrone Moore over here, and then you've got you've got this ongoing suspensions and show causes and all this other stuff with Michigan. And then you've got this whole other thing with a HR now criminal issue with one of your employees. That to me is, you have no idea. If you're a football coach, you have no idea what you're dealing with as a boss or for your boss, right? If I can go in and say, okay, this guy kind of skirts some recruiting rules, or he does this over here, or we know it can be kind of cantankerous. Like, even if you don't know your boss, you want to know what you're dealing with, right? The Ward Manual right now and that athletic program is more of a variable than I think most good coaches who have good jobs currently would be comfortable taking on, because there is way too much risk in that scenario to be able to say, yes, that's worth it. Again, unless you as a coach are desperate, you are currently unemployed and are desperate to get back into it, or you will never receive this type of opportunity again. And you can look at it and say, yeah, if they want me to take this job, my buyout's going to be enormous.
Yes.
Yeah. And it will set me up for the rest of my life, no matter how badly this goes.
In a normal cycle, the usual candidates would be, we kind of named, like Kalen DeBoer.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. TK, Jesus. They had a football staffer that was involved in like a child illicit images issue as well. And I think, wasn't there the guy that was like creeping on people's computers as well?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that was the same guy or two different guys, but like, so you've got like kind of a myriad of just nonsense.
I said it before, like the USC days, the Ohio State days, the NCAA threw around the term lack of institutional control. This is, by definition, the lack of institutional control.
Because
and we're never going to hear it. Like at the end, the NCAA doesn't even seem like they're going to touch it. So far.
They basically have no power in this anymore in these situations. Like back in the day, they would hammer Michigan for this. Like they barely hammered them for cheating their way to a national title.
Yeah.
Like
they reprimanded a coach that's no longer there and is not going back to college
Harbaugh's
football.
got like a 10-year show cause. Cool.
Yeah.
He's never coming back to college football. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, everything they do has nothing to do with, like, they can't actually penalize anybody anymore in a way that matters. And like if I'm doing my old job and I'm looking at the risk profile of the Michigan job, unbelievably toxic to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot the Juwan Howard mess with the.
Yeah.
I mean,
punched a coach on the opposite side.
I saw this. They have had 11 staffers or coaches either arrested or in trouble for rules violations. Like this is
Funky Giblets, great point. The old vacate wins punishment.
Yeah, it's like, no, I saw those games. I know what happened. Like you can't vacate those. Like we all saw it. Yeah, like this is a mess of an athletic department. There was even more stuff. Yeah, I forgot Juwan Howard like punched or shoved an opposing assistant after a game.
Lil Dave brings up a great point. How uncomfortable will the telecast be of Michigan, Texas now?
Yeah, like what I mean. And they're never actually going to say anything because they're just like, well, they're looking for a new head coach. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
Yes. Yep.
Biff Poggi, interim. Hard-hitting stuff there, guys.
I don't know. There's
Yeah, I agree. Dank. I don't see how you keep this AD. Like, I forgot about half this stuff.
Yeah.
I do not understand how I don't know how he still has a job now. Like, I don't know how he had a job up until this point. This is a disaster.
Ward must know some stuff, like more stuff than he does know, because my God, what other Michigan University officials does he have skeletons in their closet for?
Yeah, because apparently he was just sitting on the Sherrone Moore thing until he felt like it was advantageous to make a move. Like, the whole thing is like, it is. I mentioned Chernobyl earlier. This thing is a wasteland of toxicity.
That's a good way to put it. This is like Chernobyl. It is like turning over, and it has the implication of completely
like a complete meltdown.
Yes, and destroying your entire program. Not only program, but honestly, the athletic department as a whole. Like, you could kind of erode from there, but somehow, some way, that they're going to figure their way out. And maybe it's a slow climb. Maybe it is. But maybe
it's a faster climb if they get rid of the AD. Like, this is wild. Wow. Like, I just can't. I can't even understand. I can't even understand. I agree, Traven. It's so toxic. I feel bad for the recruits that were duped into thinking that there wasn't anything going on just a week ago.
Do you know what's crazy too is that if you do fire Ward, that AD job is one of the best jobs in the country.
Yeah, the AD job is
no matter what you do, you are the savior. All you have to say is, "We will not cheat anymore." Yeah. And everyone goes, "Yay!"
We're gonna have a zero tolerance policy on people getting arrested for stuff.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're gone. We're not gonna cheat on stuff. We're not gonna cheat anymore. Like, it's a very I don't know what their president, board of regents, whatever situation looks like. So that could be a complicating factor, as it has been other places throughout the years. But yeah, ironically, the AD job is dramatically more attractive than the head coaching job currently is.
Yeah. TK adds, the University of Florida decided to not hire the Michigan president in the end because they found out he was complicit in all the cheating and cover-ups.
Oh, yeah. Was that the Sandra Oh? Is that her name? Am I getting that right, TK?
Not a big admin guy.
I just remember seeing it. I thought it was Sandra. God. No, Sandra Oh is an actress.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was a Sandra somebody, but I could be wrong.
Sandra Oh on Grey's Anatomy?
Yeah, that's. I think it's a. I do
Did
think
you go to bed on the couch last night? You just woke up to a rerun or something, or what?
No, I just.
Sandra Oh?
I don't know. I thought it was somebody named Sandra. I could be wrong. We'll look it up in the break here.
Before we go to break,
yeah.
Can I answer your question?
Which
my
one?
3 favorite Raiders in the last 20 years? Because I'm on delay. Just humor me, all right?
Okay, Shane.
I'm not close. It's some guy named Domenico Grasso.
Okay.
Oh, no, he's the interim.
Tim Boyd, Grey's Anatomy lady, was going to be Florida's president.
Could have been.
So I'm going to go with the shutdown corner you guys mentioned, which I can't say his name.
Nnamdi Asomugha?
Yeah.
Okay.
Max
Crosby.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Amir.
Oh, good pick. Good pull for Amir.
Okay, so
notable Raider.
His name was Santa Ono. I was sort of in the neighborhood. Santa, as in Claus. So Sandra Oh and Santa Ono are sort of in the neighborhood name-wise.
Wow.
I'm not wrong. There's a lot of overlapping letters. Like, I get that I'm wrong, but like Santa Ono, Sandra Oh.
I just can't believe you pulled a Grey's Anatomy reference in there.
I honestly had no idea who that person was. I Googled it and I was like, a Canadian actress. That's not right. Ooh. Santa Ono, Sandra Oh. Like, maybe. We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
I think we have a very mature group, but also we try and remember, tell everybody we can't be satisfied now. Like, we're ranked, yeah, but it doesn't mean anything. We just got to go play our best game the next game. I think we made some very good steps against Creighton. Our defense was really good, and we carried that over into this game, and that's got to be a constant this whole season. But I think we have a very mature group, and I liked our talk even after this game in the locker room. Like, hey, we're supposed to defend home court. That's like Big Ten. You have a huge advantage at home, and now we got to go on the road and get a tough one. But I liked our talk after the game, and I think we got a very mature group for sure.
Imagine your first dream home and the feeling of walking inside for the first time. With Centrist Federal Credit Union's First Time Home Buyers program, you are at the doorstep of bringing your vision to life. Welcome home. From your neighborhood mortgage experts, Centrist Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, they're so knowledgeable. I think every day we're learning so much, and we just come in with the mindset like we're just going to absorb as much information as we can and try to get 1% better every single day. And I think like since our first practice, I think this is what, 5th or 6th practice, we've already gotten better and better and better. So I'm just really excited to see where we're at for our first match in January. I think just like every single drill, we're really breaking things down and going back to the basics and just working on the connections with all our hitters, what tempo, what route, all of that. Defensive systems, offensive systems, just all coming together. And when you have a team that's from a bunch of different programs, everyone's used to different systems. So now we're just trying to get on the same page and be disciplined in that every single day.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrist Federal Credit Union. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by our Friday regular, Tim VERGHESE. Tim, what's going on, buddy?
How we doing, guys?
Hey, Tim.
You sound tired. Are you okay?
No, I'm good.
Were you watching Grey's Anatomy last night?
I was not.
What were you watching? What do you do now that we're into kind of the off season? We're making all these off season moves in the chance, in the terms of Nebraska, you have to stay up on everything, but you're kind of on a little bit of a lull right here. I mean, this is just like a brief little window of not a whole lot to really digest or anything really new happening.
It's a weird December because, yeah, I mean, there's coaching stuff that we're tracking, but like beyond that, there's just a lot of like noise and rumors and things we can't even like really report on because it's essentially just tracking, is this guy going to enter the portal or are we not? And so it's kind of a lot of just like figuring out as many, like, the key names, just checking in as much as I can to like have just kind of an idea of what the status is, where things are leaning, making sure we have things prepared. Like, again, it's not just at Nebraska, but it's everywhere. There's an active like process right now of evaluating what's on the roster, what's out there, what could be out there. And unfortunately, there's just not going to be a whole lot of definity to how we report on any of this. I mean, yesterday, Texas reported that a freshman, or a pretty talented freshman, or redshirt freshman defensive back, was planning to enter the portal off pretty good sourcing. And then the kid himself came out and said, I don't know where that's coming from. I'm not planning to enter. But there's just a lot of like noise out there, you know? And so we won't know anything definitively until Jan 2nd. But I think it's really important to stay up on things and just have an idea of where things are headed, because all of these programs have an idea of what they're going to do. Like, they're not, you know, it's like free agency in other sports, you know, where, you know, free agency opens and it's like, oh, how'd they get that deal done within like 5 minutes of the window? You know what I mean? Like,
Reporting
I don't
at
think it's going to
12:01
be
a.m.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to move that fast, but it's going to be stuff like, oh, guys enter the portal and it's like they enter with the no contact tag, or they have an idea of where it was like, how did you do that? You know, like, it's just going to be a lot of that where I think that's what January, the start of January, is going to look like. So right now it's just a lot of preparing for all of that.
All right, Tim. So there is some things happening, maybe not on Nebraska's radar, but maybe they're monitoring the situations, and that comes with obviously what's going on with Michigan right now, a week after National Signing Day, and then Matt Campbell moving on from Iowa State to Penn State. Maybe not, like I said, maybe not a specific Nebraska football question, but what do those situations maybe have entailed for the recruiting classes of 26? And I know we've seen some local guys here back out of their commitments and be able to be released from those commitments and be able to open up. What does that look like for the recruit side when these type of situations are going on? Either a head coach leaves or a head coach is fired.
Yeah, there are two different situations with Iowa State. This had always been out there, just this idea that Campbell at some point would leave. I think the timing of this is really interesting, and I mean, you look at what Penn State had in their recruiting class versus what Iowa State did. I think a lot of these guys are ultimately just going to end up following Matt Campbell to Penn State. A lot of these guys deserve it. I think a lot of these guys are very capable of playing at the Power 4 level, but there's also an element of they just need numbers. You look at Penn State's roster, you look at the recruiting class, they just need like class numbers. And this is a recruiting class that, you know, there's enough up and down where, you know, it can translate to the Big Ten if you develop these guys the right way. But just with what they need on the roster, I do think a lot of those guys are ultimately going to follow. The Michigan one, I think, is going to be something that we're still figuring out. I mean, in the immediate aftermath of Sherrone Moore's firing, I think so far, unless something's changed, as far as we know, only one commit has asked out of his letter so far. I think everyone is just closely evaluating what happens. That's a program where, you know, a lot of other things are expected to remain intact regardless of who takes over. So I think there's an active monitoring situation on who takes over there. But you know, that's a really good recruiting. I mean, you look at the defensive line commits specifically. There's a couple guys in that class that Nebraska would really like a shot at, or would have liked a shot at the first time around. You know, and you know, Titan Davis is committed there. That's a name that's pretty familiar to a lot of Nebraska fans. And you know, if Nebraska's savvy here, gets their D-line coach and you know, the D-line situation figured out here quickly. They maybe have an opportunity if one of those guys chooses to reopen their recruitments. I think that's something that a lot of programs are monitoring to see what happens moving forward with that new hire, because it's not just the recruiting class. There's a lot of talent on the roster, including the quarterback, that it's not exactly a sure thing that those guys are sticking around for 2027.
Tim, so you brought up the D-line coach, so I got to ask here. Obviously, the name that everybody is waiting to hear on is Elijah Robinson. At the very least, it does not appear that he's going to be going to LSU. Have you heard anything on Nebraska and Elijah Robinson one way or the other that makes you feel any kind of way about it?
I don't think I don't think I feel strongly one way about it. I mean, I can see why, you know, A&M's working to get him back. I can see the draw of potentially Penn State. Nebraska makes sense just because it's Matt Rule. It's a staff he's comfortable with. It's an opportunity for him to learn. I think his time in Syracuse was important for, you know, I think it's important for coaches to learn their roles. I think that's something, especially young coaches, figuring out what you're good at, what you're not good at, where you best settle in. You see it across the sport where guys will rise and then fall back down, but really find their niche somewhere. I think for Elijah Robinson, I think for him, it's the experience at Syracuse kind of taught him that his niche is a D-line coach and a run game coordinator and figuring that stuff out. And so on that note, I think, a place like Nebraska working under Rob Orich and Phil Snow and even Matt Rule, who's a D-line guy himself, an opportunity for him to kind of get back to fundamentals and maybe learn, and like you kind of just develop as a coach if his goal is ultimately to get back to being a defensive coordinator, being something that, like that along the way. Learn from guys that have been there, that have done that at a high level, that have worked across multiple levels of the sport, and figure out and learn the system. I think Orich has a really good system. I think there's a lot there that I think should intrigue Elijah Robinson. On that same note, I think Elko has that exact same pitch, a place he's comfortable at, a place he's worked at before, a place with plenty of resources to recruit, and also, again, as a defensive system he can learn in, grow in. And I would be interested to see what happens here with A&M now that they have a defensive coordinator vacancy. It is essentially Elko's defense, regardless of who's the defensive coordinator. It's Elko calling the defense. It's Elko's defense. I wouldn't. I mean, like if A&M turns around and kind of uses this as leverage, as hey, we'll make you defensive coordinator, even if it's in name only. I wonder if that pitch goes through. But that said, I mean, for Nebraska, they need recruiting. I think they learned that from Terrence Knight and from Terry Braden. Is you have to land dudes up front. Like, development is important, all of that's important, but you have to land dudes. Elijah Robinson lands dudes with the best of them.
Tim, you mentioned sort of rumors on Nebraska's roster as well. I'm not going to ask you to speculate in terms of who you think might leave, but I'm curious where you think Nebraska has the most work to do or will have the most work to do in the portal of trying to acquire new guys, kind of regardless of who leaves or stays.
Yeah, I think regardless, I still think it's D-line, just because of how monumental of an effort that is, like how tough it is. We saw it last cycle, how tough it is to land quality D linemen in the portal, how you need to be on your P's and Q's. And I do think the staff is a lot better positioned for this portal window than they were last year. And that's not to say they didn't. I thought they did a good job addressing needs last portal window. I thought they did a good job. Again, it's about process over results. I thought the process of last year's portal cycle was correct. This year, I do think they're better prepared, though, for defensive line, addressing key needs there. If you were to see some outgoing movement in the receiver room, I think they are prepared there too. I think the other one is running back, only because it's an evaluation. There's plenty of productive running backs out there. There's also plenty of backs looking to make the jump with some production, mainly flashes, but not a whole lot. Where how much is the staff willing to bank on potential versus production? How much they look at what fits the scheme, what fits, like this mind meld between Jeep Wade's offensive line and his offensive line philosophy, Dana Holgerson, his offense, and what Nebraska wants to be long-term offensively. So I think that's something they're figuring out too. So I think right at this very moment, I think running back, and just because of sense of I think running back, they need to address, like they need to add like a quality starter or two. Like I think they need to add production that can take some of the pressure off of Isaiah Mosey, Makai Nelson, and guys in that room. D-line, it's because you have to add, again, instant impact contributors. Obviously, O-line's in there. I think you're going to have to go land an O-lineman, but I think with Jeep Wade in there, with Lonnie Teasley coming in, I think with both those guys along the offensive line, primarily working along the line, I'm not super concerned with Nebraska's ability to add talent and develop that talent this offseason.
Okay, so you mentioned running back. There's a guy that Nebraskans actually saw this year that has already said intends to enter the transfer portal that I think most people think is a power 4 quality back, and Jyshawn Edwards out of Houston Christian. I know we talked about him back when Nebraska actually played HCU. Is a back like that, where he's got production at a lower level, probably has the talent or would have had the talent to play at a higher level coming out of high school if things had gone a little differently, like, is that a mold that makes sense to you for Nebraska to target that type of a guy?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's I think in the frame and model of something that makes sense. My thing with Edwards is going to be the consistency of his frame and his running style in the Big Ten. I kind of wonder if he's better suited for a slight jump up to the Big 12 initially, or even, from Houston Christian, even just up to the group of 5 level, So I'm waiting to see kind of what happens with him. I don't know necessarily if he's necessarily ready for the Big Ten jump. I think a guy at the lower level that I do think Quayshawn Holmes out of Gardner-Webb is one that I'm tracking. I think out of Liberty, Evan Dickens is another one that I'm tracking. Cam Edwards out of UConn just entered the portal. I believe it's Cam Edwards Cam Edwards out of UConn is the name I was looking for. But yeah, he played for Bartel in 2022, ran for over 1,000 yards this year. That's another name that, again, makes some sense. I like part of this too is I think what they want to be running wise. I think you look at backs, you look at what they're more comfortable with as zone or gap runners. I think there was some of the, like, Nebraska had to evolve to that with Emmett too, of like what Emmett's comfortable with, and eventually getting to that point where this year were able to lean on him. I think that's going to be part of this evaluation, what these backs are good at, what Nebraska's looking for. I honestly, it really wouldn't surprise me too if it's not, like, I don't think they're looking here to replace Emmett with another bell cow. I think I should put that out there too. I think they're looking for two, I think maybe even three, but I think it's just like two backs that can work in the rotation, and then you plug in some Mekhi Nelson in there, you plug in some Isaiah Mosey in there, you plug in maybe it's some Jamal Rule, maybe some Connor Booth, whoever else emerges in the room. But I think they're looking for two guys that can work in the rotation and then add some of these young guys that are already in the room.
Tim, do you think that we're going to see a lot of what we saw last year with Nebraska's roster, where there was some turnover, and especially early on in that first portal window, there was guys announcing that they were intending to enter the transfer portal, but ended up coming back to Nebraska? Do you think that there is a lot of guys on the roster right now that are going to take that step and put one foot out, but maybe keep one foot in as well?
I think there's potential for it. I don't know if Nebraska lets it get to that point. Like I said, even compared to last year, I think they are just better prepared, where I think there's a lot of defense being played before it even gets to that point, before it even gets to, okay, I'm entering the portal. Like Nebraska, I think part of having an open dialogue with the players, letting them know where they stand, and maintaining that authenticity across the roster and that open line helps Nebraska here. Gives them kind of just an edge on having an idea of when things are happening. Of course, no one's surprises happen everywhere. But that said, I think I think there's definitely a possibility, more so this year than even last year. I think that Nebraska sees guys enter the portal and they get them back. Those guys enter the portal. Maybe it's even in the window and they are in there for a couple of days while the window's open. But they end up finding themselves back at Nebraska. I think that potential is certainly out there. It just, how well does Nebraska play defense before it gets to that point? And I think like I mentioned, how many surprises are there beyond what they are aware of and what they are actively playing defense on currently?
Tim, do you think Nebraska already knows how whatever you think the Dylan Raiola situation is? Do you think they already know how that's going to play out? Like, you feel confident that they know already what he plans to do, or do you think that's still up in the air?
I think they have plans, regardless of what he does. I think they have set plans of actions moving forward. As far as I know, I would lean a certain way, but that's just my personal gut. But I don't think that's necessarily based on what I've heard, like they know one way or the other.
Do you, I guess, from what you're hearing, and you don't have to tell me what your lean is if you don't want to, but based on what you're hearing, do you have concern for their quarterback plan next year?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think again, if he's back, if he's not, I think there's a good plan in place. I think they're getting, again, like I said, I think they're fully prepared regardless of what happens with Dylan Raiola to build the best roster possible for 26.
So as we kind of move forward into bowl season, how much different are you expecting this Nebraska team to look based on, hey, you've got some involvement of new coaches. We know Jeep Wade's already kind of in the room. We'll see how involved Rob Orich is. Hopefully we've got a D-line coach here sooner rather than later. Like, do you expect Nebraska to look significantly different in the Las Vegas Bowl than they did, let's say, even the last couple weeks of the season?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think offensively, I think a lot of what they've done is going to stick, if even if it's just because, just keep like giving TJ just a plan that he's comfortable with. And even defensively, again, like even with Orich, like I don't think a whole lot is going to change, at least to the naked eye. I do think, I mean, regardless of Orich, I do think there's going to be some like Phil Snow stuff that and even and Rule's going to have his hand in it too. But like on the defensive side of the ball, like I think there's these are two defensive minds, Phil Snow, Matt Rule, that have now had a couple weeks to reflect on how this team played. And you look at what's ahead, like they're going to have to stop the run in the bowl game. They know that to win that game, to have a chance in that game, they're going to have to stop the run. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some differences in that sense and how they attack the run and how they play the run maybe too. Just because if you give Phil Snow and Matt Rule like a couple weeks to work with, they'll figure something out defensively. It may not be Orich, it may even be like solely something that you see for one game and then they use elements of, but not necessarily the exact same way. Like it may just be like a one game, hey, Phil Snow go crazy kind of game. Just have your fun. And then they go back to just Orich's system and all that. But I don't know how much of like Orich's system they're going to have or be able to implement here ahead of the bowl game. I think it's just going to be a lot of just like Phil Snow, what he does. And like I said, I think I could see a lot of like just creativity from that sense, just because like, again, this is purely like kind of just me speaking out of just my own, just how I feel. I wouldn't be surprised if, especially towards the end of the year, there was some frustration from Phil Snow of like, oh, I can fit the run better than this. Like I know how, like I can figure this out. Like and give him a couple weeks, and he maybe has some enough adjustments where Nebraska looks different defending the run than they did towards the end of the season.
Go ahead.
I just don't think that's a stretch. I mean, I think if it was a stretch, then John Butler would still be the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Matt Rule is also like, I think I could fit the run better than those two.
Well, on that same note then, Tim, do you think that this is a chance, like we saw with last year's bowl game, with the opt-outs, people entering the portal or otherwise plans, that you could see a rise like we saw with Donovan Jones last year in the Pinstripe Bowl? Or is this a chance where it's going to be a huge influx of younger talent? Because that has been a part of, I guess, the outside conversation was, where are these younger pieces? Where are these guys? Do you think that that's going to be maybe the bigger case then for especially the defensive side, is Phil Snow's just going to let all the young guys kind of either make mistakes or make plays out there against Utah?
I'd like to see that. I mean, I still wouldn't be surprised. It's going to be the last game for a lot of, again, seniors. So I think we're going to see a heavy amount of, obviously, Javen Wright and guys up front, guys in the secondary that are older. But yeah, like, I mean, in the linebacker room, I'm looking and a little just optimistic for a little more Dawson Merritt in the rotation. Kind of want to see what he's got up front, a little more Cade. They've talked about maybe moving, and playing Keona Williams and Cade Moore as true ends. Would like to see some of that a little bit, let those guys start to get comfortable in what their roles will be in the next defense. Also, again, just it's a good experience for them to go up against this Utah offensive line. I'd like to see some growth over these last few weeks of, again, working with whoever it is, but it's Matt Rule, Phil Snow, the Rob Orich and the new defensive staff, like growth from a month of work, a season where I think a lot of these guys up front do feel dissatisfied with what they did. I mean, I don't think it would surprise me if like we're talking about Dawson Merritt or, someone like that in the front seven, the way we were talking about Donovan Jones coming out of last year's Pinstripe Bowl.
Tim, want to switch to kind of more traditional recruiting here. Nebraska did pick up a commitment this week in Jaden Travers. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
A defensive line commit, which I thought was a little interesting. Don't have a defensive line coach. You get a defensive line commit. Maybe there was some things the recruits have been told that we hadn't been yet. But just in general, what is Nebraska getting with Jaden Travers?
Yeah, it comes at a really interesting time, and I think he's a perfect, like, if you don't have a D-line coach, if you're still kind of in this midst of a defensive transition in terms of scheme and philosophy and all of that, like, what kind of D-lineman do you add? You add a really strong, versatile D-lineman that can play anywhere from, like, 1 tech if he grows enough to 3 tech to 5 tech. Like, he can play all over the line. He can be a 4-eye if needed. Like, so he's a guy that Right now it's 6'4", 270, plays a big role for that St. Francis defense that has been just truly elite this year. I mean, they were on ESPN2 on Thursday, but if you have access to NFHS or something else, go back and watch what that defense did this year. Like it's remarkable defensive play from like a high school unit. They're just dominant. And it was a lot of fun to watch. He played a key role in that, did a lot of the dirty work. The stats don't like pop, but you know, he's doing a lot of dirty work. He's a 3 tech, you know, that the stats aren't supposed to pop, you know.
Yeah.
But he's a guy that at 270, 6'4", really long arms, like north side of 33-inch arms, big hands, so really rangy like frame for like a relatively average sized defensive lineman. A guy that I think is going to really fill out into that frame. Right now stands right around 270, 275, could be on the north side of 290, even pushing 300 by the time he gets to Nebraska. Reminds me a bit in terms of the frame versatility and just the explosiveness. Is some Malcolm Simpson there. Just explosiveness off the line. And I think way more so than Malcolm, he punches way above his weight. He's really strong, really explosive. I think something for him is going to be like figuring out how to use that range. He's got such massive, just like features that I think it's something he's still figuring out how to play into, utilizing that range, playing across the line. You know what I mean? Exploding more horizontally, something I think he's still figuring out too. But there's a lot to really like in that overall mold. And again, if you're in a position where you're still kind of figuring out what you want to be as a defense, this is an excellent piece because if you move to a three-man front long term, he can be your end. If you move to a 4-man front, he can be your 3 tech. You know, he's perfect for whatever you're playing. I think he also brings just the right mentality. He's willing to do the dirty work. He's not really looking for like the glory on that on a really good St. Francis defense. He was the guy that was doing the dirty work and opening up stuff for the guys around him.
Tim, just looking ahead to the class of 27 in-state recruit-wise, Nebraska's locked up the top 2 at least rated recruits in Matt Erickson, Torrey Pittman. But when they look down the line from there, are there more guys that you can see up and coming? I know we saw Braylon Warren announce his commitment to Missouri. Wyatt Liebentritt's still out there. He's done some recruiting visits and stuff out at Penn State I've seen. And I know that there's probably still maybe some more names that could pop up there. Do you think that fever pitch we had from last cycle that just wrapped up last week is going to maybe calm down a little bit now that some of those recruits have stayed in state for this next upcoming class?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, especially when you have a guy like Torrey Pittman, who's at this point the highest ranked prospect in recent memory from the state, is committed and set to go to Nebraska. Obviously, Colin Haney's still kind of out there for Nebraska. Bryce Vignes is another one I'm monitoring just to see kind of what his recruitment turns into this offseason. I'm really fascinated by Liebentritt. I thought he had a good end to the year. Curious about that Penn State offer, especially with so many changes. Is that, you know, does he add Virginia Tech? Does the new Penn State staff offer? Does the new Iowa State staff offer? Does Nebraska circle back? Nebraska's on a pretty good DB board themselves in the 27 cycle. So just curious how those things figure themselves out. But yeah, like I don't think the noise is going to be there to the same extent, literally only because like, yeah, you have Torrey Pittman's committed, Matt Erickson, a legacy with a really high ceiling is committed. There's a lot there. And I think you look ahead to 28, 29, and I think 27 too, like there's not a Millard Stout out. There's not a Millard Stout with like a Jet Tamala and a Nelson Wheeler and Amari, you know, like where there's like this whole nucleus of like a D1 or Power 4 talent in the state that's just not going to Nebraska because that isn't looming out there at this very moment. Because it's not looming out there. I do think Nebraska is going to kind of avoid that narrative, I think, next cycle.
You have any guys in state that you're kind of watching to see? I know you mentioned a few of them, but are there any other guys you saw this past fall that maybe are risers? Maybe not even not saying Nebraska level or anything like that, but maybe just some guys that you're kind of taking note on?
Yeah, Vignes, Liebentritt. I'm blanking off the top of my head. There's a DB at Bellevue West I really like in the 27 cycle. Let me pull it up real quick. But yeah, there's a few in the 27 cycle I'm monitoring. I'm really excited to see this offseason really dive into some tape on 28s and 29s, just because I'm still waiting for like young talent in the state to like truly emerge too.
Bryce John from Bell West.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, a few guys
yeah.
You guys want, and then Tristan James too. Tristan Jerez James, that's the other one that I like. But yeah, a couple of guys I'm watching here this off season through obviously 7-on-7 events and just like getting back on some tape and stuff too. But yeah, I'm really waiting to see kind of who emerges in 28 and 29 more so than 27, just because I think where we're at in recruiting and these cycles, there's always a chance for guys to emerge, and I'm always open to guys emerging late, but like as we get here into the offseason, it's kind of, you got to get your stuff together here in the next 100 days or so for your recruitment to take off. Otherwise, it's going to be really slim pickings from that point.
Well, I mean, notably, too, at this time a year ago, Jet Tamala was still an Iowa State commit. And he obviously improved his stock quite a bit to become an Alabama quarterback and, you know, kind of shot the moon from there. But I think you're right that there's got to be some of these guys that are still in state that are going to have some next level recruitment. There's going to be maybe another school that comes after. I don't know if it's a Braylon Warren or anything like that, but there's definitely some guys that are lingering out there that you could hear some more noise about, I assume.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, again, and I think the other part of this with all this coaching turnover too is you're seeing coaches at lower levels, and these dominoes haven't really started to fall just yet because the dust at the very top settling, but you're going to see some upward movement from coaches, some lateral movement from coaches. Enough so where I think guys in the state, guys that maybe even committed or have in big time offers in the region are going to be severely impacted by that. Where recruitments I think are going to change drastically. You know, I mean the guys are going to commit to programs that don't currently have offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, and so there's going to be a lot that's going to change here over these next few weeks. As far as Nebraska's board is specifically concerned, I don't see it changing a whole lot, at least in state. I mean, like I mentioned, the names that I've mentioned are the guys I still think are on their radar. And then there's a couple others. I think Ty Tessendorf's another one that the staff has stayed, kind of diligent on monitoring and tracking. So that's another one. But besides that, it's pretty slim pickings.
Tim, I'll get you out of here on this. With the coaching changes at Nebraska on the assistant side and some of the changes we've seen across the country, has your feelings about the trajectory of Nebraska's 2027 class changed at all? Or is the only thing that could change that for you is how many wins they get in 2026?
I think wins. I mean, wins in 26 is ultimately what's going to decide this. I mean, as long as Matt Rule and Dana Holgerson and Glenn Thomas are here, like a lot of those offensive commits are going to stick together. Defensively, I mean, they're just getting started. They got Torrey. I have no real concern about DB recruiting with Addison Williams leading the room. I mean, they're working hard on some top talent there. Linebacker recruiting is one that I think is going to get figured out as they get this new staff in place and as they figure out what they want in linebackers. But they have a pretty talented board already. Defensive line's the board where I think is going to change the most. But it's one of those things where it's like if you get Elijah Robinson, I have zero concerns with what the D-line room is going to look like. But even if it's not Elijah Robinson, I mean, Travers is a pretty strong start to the class. The staff has done their due diligence. They're in the mix for Miles Smith, the number 2 defensive lineman in the country. They have enough going for them up front that I think they're going to be okay.
Who's the name if it's not Elijah Robinson, like in your head?
I'm not really sure. Like that's where I think I think it kind of has it especially with the LSU development. It feels like this thing is trending in the right direction for Nebraska. But there are there are names out there, maybe not to the same level of recruiter, but that have developmental success or have had just success in terms of making splashes here and there on the recruiting trail. Elijah is as good as they come in terms of laying the studs, but there's plenty of other good D-line coaches out there.
All right, that's our guy Tim VERGHESE inside Nebraska. Tim, great stuff as always. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Tim.
That is Tim VERGHESE from inside Nebraska.
Always good stuff from Tim.
Always. That kind of is how the sense I've gotten, though. Like, I've heard a couple names floated out there besides Elijah Robinson, but it kind of seems like it's like, yeah, they're pretty much counting on this guy getting there.
Well, and I think it's also part of that too that there's plenty of people who see the interaction between notable Husker alums and such, and they look at other defensive linemen that have been through the program or other defensive linemen that Rule has worked with, and you go, okay, well, he had Terrence Knighton, he had all these guys. The one thing that Rule always goes back to on his assistants, and Tim said it there too, recruitment is the most important piece of their development. He's got some guys that are on the staff that are analysts, he's got other guys that are recruiters, he's got other guys that are development in practices, and then he's got, his old wise heads, right? Like he's got his Phil Snows, he's got his Dana Holgersons, but these younger guys that come up, younger coaches, right?
Yeah. I mean, like your Phil Simpsons, like that's the reason he's on staff.
Got to recruit.
Yeah.
And so if
he said that,
if the defensive line coach isn't going to be a recruiter, he's not coming to Nebraska.
He's going to be an analyst.
Yes.
I mean, that's what Coach Rule said. He said, hey, if you can't recruit, you don't get to be a position coach. You have to be an analyst, right?
Yeah.
And especially now that analysts can coach on the field, that's a game changer for sort of that requirement of being like, yeah, you've got to be able to get it done in terms of recruiting. The only other name I've heard even associated with Nebraska, just in case you are looking for another name, if it's not Elijah Robinson, is Vontrell King Williams, if you want to Google him.
It's a great name.
It's an incredible name. That's the only other candidate I've even heard floated.
Sounds like a
anywhere.
crab, like
Vontrell King Williams.
Yeah.
Like a crab dish.
Yeah. Like a delicious crab dish.
Sounds like a Steven Sipple middle name right there.
Presidential name.
Monte Cristo. I was surprised he liked Monroe the best yesterday. I thought that was
he liked Montgomery.
Montgomery's his favorite one. Yep. That's an old one that he's liked for a long time. He liked Monroe a lot. I thought Monroe was my worst one yesterday. I thought Mercedes and Monte Cristo.
Monroe didn't feel like you had cooked that one up. That felt like I got to get one out. Monroe.
No, I thought about the night before.
Nice.
But
watching Grays.
Yeah, Sandra O. Santa Ono. Very similar. But I thought Monte Cristo was my best one.
I like Monte Cristo.
I thought
you could also hit him with a Monty Python in there too. That's probably more his character.
I try and come up with real names, actual names.
Monty's real name.
Monty is.
Yeah.
Monty Python isn't really.
Did you ever do Steven Mamba Sipple?
I haven't done Mamba.
Mamba would be good.
I haven't done Mamba or Mambo number 5.
Bang.
Steve Mambo number 5 Sipple.
Yeah. Mini.
What's like Lou Vega? Is that the guy's name? The singer? No, you're too young for that. Okay.
No, I know Mamba number 5. I just don't know.
I think it's Lou Bega.
Lou Bega.
Lou Bega.
Yeah, it is Lou Bega.
Yeah, it's Lou Bega.
Nice.
Probably 1998.
He's German?
What? I thought he was Latino.
Do we have the wrong? No, Lou Bega, Mamba number 5. He's German.
That is an upset.
I'm upset.
Did I get the year right?
What'd you say?
1998.
99.
Funky Giblets. Montague's a good one. Montague would be a good. Stephen Montague.
Lou Bega's 50 years old.
Well, I mean, 99 is 26 years ago.
I actually think that's relatively I thought he would be in those 30s when he came up Mamba number 5.
No, he's a young pup. You know,
for him.
You can only have that kind of inspiration when you're young.
That is true.
With that
youthful
particular
before the kids suck all of your energy out, they take it away from you.
You have to be particularly youthful to, I think, manage that type of roster that Lou Bega was talking about there.
I mean, he did have 5 of them at minimum.
At least. I mean,
different Mambas for different ladies.
Exactly. Let's take a quick break.
Why am I Mamba number 7?
He's like, come on, man.
Would that be Sandra O?
Sandra O was not Mamba number 7. No.
Santa Ono was Mambo number 1.
My number 1.
That's awesome. I'm Ravi. We'll be right back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
We haven't had a defensive identity all year, and everybody gets all rah-rah about our offense, but it's the other end of the floor that's caused us the trouble for the most part. And obviously tonight it was, credit to Nebraska. They beat us every way possible. There's not another facet in the game of basketball that they couldn't kick our rear end with. They did it all. They're playing well. Fred's doing a good job. I mean, when you got ranked mass kind of anchoring that and quarterbacking what they do offensively, it puts a lot of pressure on you. And when you're not connected defensively, when you're guarding individually instead of collectively as a team, they feast on that. Any good offensive team does.
I had a really great year last year and was just kind of looking for some different opportunities this year. The free agency process was kind of crazy. That day or two that it all kind of happened. I just had a lot of conversations with my parents, my now husband, and they kind of were like trying not to tell me this, but I could tell they were like, this is kind of an obvious choice. And looking back, like it kind of was an obvious choice. I mean, I'm in my hometown with the closest people that I know. The fan base here is obviously incredible. And then I was really excited about the coaching staff. And then also as players started to sign and I kind of saw what this team was going to be, I got more and more excited about playing with these girls. So yeah, it was kind of an obvious choice at the end of the day.
We're in the neighborhood, just down the street. With a wide variety of home equity products to help you create a relaxing oasis. So you can kick back and relax in comfort. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you, make sure if you are, you're out there, you're buying some Christmas gifts, make sure you're saving a little bit of money too. And Centris can help you with that with their Roundup program. Every time you spend money with your Centra Visa debit card, that gets rounded up to the nearest whole dollar amount and deposited straight from your checking to your savings account. It's a little way and a simple way to make a big difference this holiday season as you try and save a little money. Learn more about Centris Roundup at centrisfcu.org. Terms and conditions apply. Federally insured by NCUA. We've been around a lot this morning. We did a lot.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground here.
This has been a sports show for sure.
A lot of sportsy stuff.
A lot of sports.
Been very sportsy. I would like to take a small detour here.
Whoa. What do you mean?
It's still sports adjacent.
Okay.
But you have been working on a project this week.
No, I've been distracted this week is what it's been.
I think you've been working on a project, and I've been very happy with the results. So many sports shows have kind of their own theme song, right?
Mm-hmm.
And through the wonderful gift of technology, you have come up with a few options.
I have.
For what a potential Hurrdat Sports Live theme song should be. And I would like some of our listeners and YouTubers here, I'd like them to weigh in on some of these options here. So how many do we have? We have 3?
We have 2.
We have 2. Okay.
Yeah, so the third one, unfortunately, got lost to space. So,
oh, no. All right.
It's actually, it's on the desktop at work. Can't get it here.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
We'll have other options as well. But obviously,
it's in the cloud.
It is in what is the cloud? You and DB will have final say. Maybe Shane does too.
Okay.
Shane, I have these in the stream, so I think I can play them from here. So I think we should be good. But you're gonna have to let me know if you can't hear them. So
okay, go for it.
All right. So do you want option 1 or 2? So 2 is pop emo punk.
Okay.
1 is our morning rap.
Let's start with the pop emo punk.
Pop emo punk. Okay. So this one's a little bit of a work in progress. It's not perfect yet, but the lyrics we like.
Okay.
We enjoy the lyrics.
All right.
Okay, are you ready?
Let's hear it.
Cause your son has got Hurrdat Sports Live.
The lyrics.
I know.
Nebraska morning sharp like a blade. Ravi's got the mic, Damon's got the plays. Huskers dreams rising in the haze. Creighton skies painted blue and white. Omaha streets waking to the fight. Football and hoops, we bleed the red. Every pass, every shot, it's in our head. We scream for the big red tide. We roar for the Jays to fly. Hurrdat Sports Live. Where the truth collides with passion, fire. Every morning's pride. Hurrdat Sports Live. We're never standing still. Ravi and Damon bring the thrill. Touchdowns fade, but the memories stay. Omaha echoes every word they say. From the 50-yard line to the hardwood floor. Every victory leaves us wanting more. Turn the dial, feel the energy rise. They break it down through tired eyes. Nebraska heart pumping through the show. Ravi and Damon let the whole world know.
All right.
Cause your son has got Hurrdat
So
Sports
that
We don't
is
need that again. We don't need
that is the pop emo punk version.
Obviously, we need to get it correct. It's not Hurrdat Sports Live. We'll get that
I'll
correct.
say we can work on that.
We can fine tune it.
We do have some very we have some positive.
Okay, good.
Positive reinforcement here. Our boss, one of our bosses, Gorman says 2 already wins. As soon as we said pop emo punk, he was in.
Yeah, there was no doubt that Gorman is going to love that.
Mark likes it. Mark Kahn says this one's good.
This is
He said,
before
"That's a
anyone
good
even
song."
hears the second one.
Yes, it is AI, Keljam.
Can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
I couldn't hire bands in a week.
Although we may have a surprise for a different show that Austin hosts.
We'll get to that at a different time.
Teaser.
Yes.
The other ones we will. This is the other option, Dave.
Yeah.
We're gonna play
for right now. We can come up here. I'll leave this out. If you can message me on the DMs on Twitter X at Austin2Jacobsen. DM me, and if you have
like a style of song.
Yeah, if you have a style of song,
if you're like, I want
ideas,
80s hair band.
Yeah, let us know. I did pitch yesterday. I was working on some Christian jazz ones. Didn't sound as good as I thought it was.
I don't know what that means.
I was really just putting 2 words together and like, I wonder what would happen.
Just like mashups.
It was great. All right, so this next one is actually the minute I heard this, I was like, this is it.
Yeah, you played this for me. To be fair, the pop emo punk was my idea because I go, hey,
and it is very good. It is
and I was like, I basically just wanted to feel like I'm a junior in high school again. Like, take me back, Austin.
Yes.
And you did a great job. This one you just played for me, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a banger.
It hits.
So I don't want to build it up too much.
Okay,
I'll let it roll.
Chat, let us know.
Start your day with the squad to survive. Ravi, Lulla, and Damon Bennett and Hurrdat Sports live. From Omaha to the nation we thrive. Talking Huskers, Blue Jays, keep the spirit alive. Red runs deep, then Nebraska pride. Cornfields to the skyline where legends reside. Big plays, bold takes, no room to hide. Tune in daily, catch the energy ride. Hurrdat Sports live. Hurrdat Sports live, where the game comes alive. Ravi, Damon on the mic, yeah, they always provide. From Nebraska football to hoops that fly. Omaha's heartbeat, can't just don't deny. Huskers hit the field, black shirts on attack. Memorial roads loud, no holding us back. Korean Blue Jays in the air, no cracks, fast breaks, slam dunks, all nets, all facts. Ravi with the quick wit, Damon with the insight. Morning sports talk, yeah, it's feeling just right. Nebraska roots strong, we're shining so bright. Sip your coffee, tune in, let's ignite. Hurrdat Sports live, where the game comes alive. Ravi, Damon on the mic, yeah, they always provide. From Nebraska football to hoops that fly. Omaha's heartbeat, can't just don't deny. Hurrdat Sports live, where the game comes alive. Ravi, Damon on the mic, yeah, they always provide. From Nebraska football to hoops that fly. Omaha's heartbeat, can't just don't deny. Can't just don't deny.
A lot of screaming at the end of that one.
Listen, I like it. It seems very popular in the chat. Kyle says.
I think it's playing again. Hold on, I gotta pause it. we can't let that go off.
Kyle says, "Okay, the shit bumps," which I think is good. I think is good.
Great point, Kale Jam. No mentions of volleyball. We can change that.
Yeah, we can update.
Yeah,
we
can
volleyball
update
in there.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got some very positive.
Rico, I don't know a lot of words that rhyme with refrigerate, so I don't know if we're gonna fit that in.
It needs to be one of those like shout outs, like in the where it does.
When he's just screaming.
Yeah, well, no, like in the early, like in after the first verse. I can't remember what he says there, but it's sort of.
I can pull up the lyrics. You want the lyrics?
Yeah, it's sort of just that one line in the middle where, and you can just be like, "And refrigerate your meat."
Start your day with the squad. It's a vibe. Ravi, Lulla, and Damon Benning. This is my favorite bit. It's spoken word of songs. Hurrdat Sports live. From Omaha to the nation, we thrive. Talking Huskers, Blue Jays, keep the spirit alive. Refrigerate your meat.
Yeah, that's the perfect spot. Yeah, what does it say there instead right now?
Nothing. There's nothing.
Oh, there's one part.
There's a part. So it's after the next verse. They go, red runs deep, that Nebraska pride, cornfields to the skyline where legends reside.
Incredible.
That's a bar. That's crazy.
That's dropping lines right there.
Big plays, bold takes, no room to hide. Tune in daily, catch the energy ride. And then he goes, Hurrdat Sports Live.
Yeah, so instead of Hurrdat Sports Live, you just be like, and refrigerate your meat.
Huskers hit the field, black shirts on attack. Memorial roars loud, no holding us back. Creighton Blue Jays in the air, no cracks. Fast breaks, slam dunks, all nets, all facts.
Love it.
Come on.
Some bars.
Now, these songs gave you guys way too much credit. Ravi with the quick wit, Damon with the insight. Okay, let's calm down.
I mean,
and then the first song, Coffee's cold, sun ain't up. Nebraska morning, sharp like a blade. Ravi's got the mic. Damon's got the plays. Blah, 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 whatever. All that other stuff. I do like this one. Touchdowns fade, but the memories stay. Omaha echoes every word they say.
That does go kind of hard.
That could go on your tombstone. That's very good.
Honestly, yes, it might. You know I'm a big Omaha guy.
Big Omaha guy.
Big Omaha guy.
So what do you prefer right now? Like, obviously, we can keep going through some more options. We had the comment about making sure that we had more volleyball. We could include that in there. But critiques, criticisms, what do you have? Because at the end of the day, so I don't know if we play this for every single show because
we could do part of it. It doesn't have to be in its entirety.
It could also be a great outro song.
Oh, it could be a really good outro song. Yeah. I think I prefer the rap one.
Okay. Are you willing to see more options?
100%.
Okay.
Yes. I could have sat there all day yesterday if I didn't have to go do other stuff.
Yeah.
I could have sat there all day yesterday and just helped you brainstorm different genres.
Yeah, my this enveloped my entire Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day it was.
Well spent.
Yes.
It had to be. I wasn't.
No, it was Wednesday.
It was Wednesday.
It was Wednesday because I was bothering the whole office because I was blaring it on my stereo. It was insane.
I'm out of those two. The rap one is my favorite. I think it goes very hard.
Okay.
I have been in sort of a emo pop punk renaissance myself personally lately in what I've been listening to.
Yeah.
So that's why that was fresh on the brain. But I think objectively the rap one is better.
Okay.
And I also always like rap. Like it's it's kind of a standard. And
DJ says they're both good. The actual song is Tragic Kingdom by No Doubt. Check the lyrics. Okay. I guess we'll have to look.
I have no idea.
I don't listen to a whole lot of No Doubt. So
I didn't know No Doubt song about you guys.
Well, it does say from Omaha to the nation. So
the only one I know from No Doubt is actually not even a No Doubt song, isn't it? No Diggity. That's
not No Doubt.
That's not No Doubt.
That's not Gwen.
That's who is that? Shane?
Gwen Stefani.
No. No Diggity. Who's No Diggity?
Is that the group?
Something. No Diggity's the song. I want to say it's
That's
something.
a good song.
It's something. Thank you.
Blackstreet and Dr. Dre.
I thought I was going to say Blackstreet, but
Yeah, it was right on the tip of Shane's tongue. You almost had that.
I was going to say Blackstreet, but I was like, if it's a song called No Diggity and it's not Blackstreet and I just say Blackstreet, I'm going to get in trouble here.
See, that's why I couldn't say it.
No, that's not why you couldn't say it. You just didn't know one, Shane. It's okay. You don't have to know all of them. You've done really good.
Todd wants me to try metal gospel.
Christian death metal.
We'll do what we can, man. We'll do what we can. We'll see what we have.
Can we get?
Ooh, I like Evan, who we'll talk to.
David said
Ravi and DB's 90s R&B.
90s R&B would be good. That one might be a little too slow.
Yeah.
Like it needs to be upbeat. Where it's a morning show, we got to get energized a little bit. Lil Dave says, I'm a 65-year-old man, and I like the rap version. No cap. Look at you. Speaking like the youths.
No cap. A man from York saying no cap.
Mark wants wants a Metallica version.
Oh, okay. All right.
We can see it in the style of Metallica.
Evan, what if I make like Confessions Part 3, but it's Hurrdat Sports Live?
Can we do like
These are my hot takes.
Can we?
It's Funky Chiplets. It's not White Street. It's actually just Sydney.
Christopher likes both of them. He's 60. He does think volleyball should be included.
That is fair.
We can definitely fix that.
And that's exactly why we didn't want Damon to hear him first, because he would just criticize these all the way down, which is fair.
We need to. We appreciate the input though. We can improve these. We can definitely do that. You missed this, I think, age-wise.
Oh.
There was an era in the late 90s where, for no explainable reason, ska music became very popular.
Ska?
I think it would be very funny to do a ska version.
What is ska music?
It's like a lot of...
Like Scott Tish?
No. Ska as in... It's kind of like...
It's a very alternative...
It's like big band music. It's like you've got trombones and trumpets and... It's
upbeat, danceable Jamaican music?
Nope. It's not Jamaican. It's all white people. It's all white people.
What?
Ska is a music genre that originated in Jamaica in the late 1950s.
Okay, well, the white people have adopted it and co-opted it.
As we do.
In a way that you could say maybe appropriated it. But I'm looking at you, bud. No.
Hey, listen, Google is asking, is Gwen Stefani ska? I don't think that's the case.
No. Oh, KelGM says No Doubt is actually considered party ska.
Wow.
I'm finding this out.
See, we're learning.
We are learning.
This is huge.
I think a ska version would be funny. Not
reggae country, Todd.
Not good, but funny. I think it's worth exploring.
There's a very famous white ska band from Omaha.
I've never seen someone who wasn't white in a ska band. So that's just Google the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones and you'll have exactly an idea of how white this genre is.
Boss Tones. Whoa, those guys are white. No. There's two African Americans.
Are there?
Yeah. One has a fedora though.
So he's an honorary white.
I didn't say that. Saying no one looks good in a fedora.
At least says I refuse to believe that ska is real. Let's take a quick break here. We're going to talk to RICO coming up next.
Yeah.
About volleyball, because it is a volleyball. What's that?
In stream?
I think he's going to be in stream.
Let's go.
I thought you were going to talk to him about ska music.
We could.
Probably not. Maybe. He probably doesn't remember either. He's a little older than you, but not probably enough. It's a volleyball state. We've got to get to Creighton in the Elite Eight.
Yep.
Nebraska playing tonight.
Yep.
Against Kansas.
Yep.
Creighton's got Kentucky tomorrow.
Yep.
To go to the Final Four.
Yep.
You, me, RICO, volleyball, next.
I think we have a very mature group, but also we try and remember, tell everybody we can't be satisfied now. Like, we're ranked, yeah, but doesn't mean anything. We just got to go play our best game the next game. I think we made some very good steps against Creighton. Our defense was really good, and we carried that over into this game, and that's going to be a constant this whole season. But I think we have a very mature group, and I liked our talk even after this game in the locker room. Like, hey, we're supposed to defend home court. That's like Big Ten. You have a huge advantage at home, and now we got to go. We got to go on the road and get a tough one. But I liked our talk after the game, and I think we got a very mature group for sure.
Imagine your first dream home and the feeling of walking inside for the first time. With Centrist Federal Credit Union's First Time Home Buyers program, you are at the doorstep of bringing your vision to life. Welcome home. From your neighborhood mortgage experts, Centrist Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, they're so knowledgeable. I think every day we're learning so much, and we just come in with the mindset like we're just going to absorb as much information as we can and try to get 1% better every single day. And I think like since our first practice, I think this is fifth or sixth practice, we've already gotten better and better and better. So I'm just really excited to see where we're at for our first match in January. I think just like every single drill, we're really breaking things down and going back to the basics and just working on the connections with all our hitters, what tempo, what route, all of that. Defensive systems, offensive systems, just all coming together. And when you have a team that's from a bunch of different programs, everyone's used to different systems. So now we're just trying to get on the same page and be disciplined in that every single day.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
I don't know if there's a certain stat. It's more when you see the amount of attempts and how like even it is, and then the stats of the people that aren't starters that come off the bench and their stats, how high they are. And a lot of times when you have people come in matches in tough times, or even if we're ahead, you know, they might make a couple errors because they're nervous, but those guys have crushed it every time they've come in. So I would say that is probably most important. But I just think the overall amount of attempts and the attempts our middles have, I think is something that we wanted to do in the spring and carry over to the fall, and we really executed that.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by Enrique Alvarez-CLARY, affectionately known as RICO. What's up, RICO?
Hello, everybody.
Hey, RICO, are you trapped in that basement?
No, this is just my basement.
Oh, it looks very scary back there.
You made your lower third wrong.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. I know what I wanted to do. I know what you wanted me to do.
We had agreed to terms.
We didn't agree.
What were the terms?
Ravi, do you know how long we were on the phone last night?
Yeah, like an hour.
Yeah.
I talked to RICO for like 30 minutes on the phone last night.
Oh, look at you, big phone boy.
Yeah.
Then
I had to call my friends.
He pulled a classic Mike Sutter. He was like, okay, bye.
No. My wife was calling me. We had to go pick up the kids.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I told you. I said, Rachel's calling me. And you're like, oh, bye. You pulled the Mike Sauter.
I did pull an.
Wow.
I did
You're
pull.
like, oh, bye.
My bad.
RICO.
Is there no lighting in that basement either?
There's one light. It's right over here.
Is it a single light bulb? You don't even have like
It is. There's no cover. It's just a light bulb.
Very nice.
Do you want to hold on? Look at the ceiling of this.
It looks like you are
glad that's
There's the light bulb right there.
It looks like you're. I thought it was Puerto Rico.
Oh, it is Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it is Puerto Rico.
It is. See, there you go.
It looks like someone is being kept in that basement against their will.
Yeah, and it's RICO. That's
my kids.
Wait, hold on.
It seems like someone's about to lower a basket with lotion in it to you. Like that's what it seems like.
Wow. Wow.
That's what it looks.
No, this is my office area. The kids' toy room is through the door that there's actually no door. It's an unfinished basement.
Fair. Yeah.
So it's just through the door, and then that's the toy room for the kids right over there.
Fair. Yeah, fair. Well, we're not trapping you, obviously, when we talk Nebraska volleyball because they are unprecedentedly very good. What has changed in your opinion of them from where they were against Kansas State to where they take on the other Kansas team tonight?
What has changed in my opinion? Absolutely nothing. They're still a wagon. They are still rolling through teams. And although Matt Ulmer kind of tongue-in-cheek said that the Big Ten was down, I don't believe that, and I understand that he was making a joke since he coached at Oregon last year in the Big Ten, so he had firsthand experience with how great the Big Ten actually is. Nebraska's volleyball team, in my opinion, hasn't changed whatsoever. They are still looking amazing. They have, chinks in their armor, but it doesn't seem like anybody has been able to actually take advantage of them. Kansas State came close and was actually pushing them, which is, something that they do need. Something that they did need to going forward to know that, you're not perfect. There are things that you need to improve on. And hopefully that's something that they'll be able to showcase against a Kansas team that I don't know if people remember this because it's so long ago. They did play 2 spring matches, and Kansas was the first of those spring matches at the Bob. That was not the John Cook Arena yet, I don't believe. So it was still just Bob Devaney Sports Complex. So they did play Kansas in their first spring match, 4 sets. Nebraska won all 4 sets because the teams agreed to play 4 sets. And that was where Nebraska was figuring out their lineups, trying to find out who they were going to play. Campbell, Flynn, and Bergen Riley split reps. Ryan Hunter was the star, and as everybody knows, she hasn't seen any time this season on the court because she's redshirting. So Nebraska has experience with this Kansas team, and they handled them last time. So this Nebraska team for me is gonna keep on rolling.
So RICO, let me ask you, because you brought up maybe some slight imperfections in a team that it's very easy to look at and say, oh, they're unbeatable, right? That's not true of any team though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there is, but it's very easy to look at this Nebraska team and look at how the season's gone and think they are invincible. I do think it's important for them to occasionally be reminded that they are capable of bleeding, right? Because that's how you continue to improve and things like that. But if you were in any way concerned about a type of team that could give Nebraska trouble, what would that look like?
That is a really good question because they faced damn near every type of team you can face
and dominated.
They've faced teams with very large front lines. They've faced teams that serve extremely well. They've faced very good offensive teams, very good defensive teams, and they have found a way to get past every single one of them. Teams that have given Nebraska fits in the past, and I think maybe still is probably teams with, I mean, it's weird to say, is more than one option. So not a team like Pitt or a team like Penn State, where they have one person that they go to, it's going to go to them. And although against everyone else, it seems to work out and they get their kills, Nebraska has been able to shut them down the 3 times they faced Penn State twice and Pitt once. The 3 times that they faced kind of options like that, teams with more options than that, like a Kentucky, for example, with a Brooklyn DeLay and an Ava Hudson, those are the ones with 2 terminal outsides or an opposite that kind of give Nebraska fits. Not to say that their block is weak, but there are certain lineups, certain rotations where Nebraska's block isn't the best. And if they end up getting stuck in one of those, then they have themselves some issues. They have shown that they still have problems receiving serves and allowing aces to serves that look like they're going to go out of bounds. They say it's going to go out, it lands in. They've given up more than their share of those. But to me, it's teams with 2 terminal outsides. And I know that that's kind of something that every team wishes they had, and every team that has that does really well. But those are the teams that Nebraska really seems to struggle against. But again, they haven't shown much trouble this season against those.
So you brought up Kentucky. Are there any other teams that fit that bill for you that Nebraska could run into?
Texas is kind of like that, but their other outside is a freshman.
Okay.
So you don't know how she'll react when the lights get brightest. They're still playing extremely well. SMU was like that, but they fell to Purdue in a pretty big upset.
Yeah.
So I really think that the biggest test for Nebraska, well, and then Wisconsin getting Charlie Furbringer back is going to be huge if they can make it out of there. If they get past Texas, Stanford and then Texas, that'll be another team that they'll have to contend with, even though they beat them earlier, but Charlie wasn't healthy at that time. But I think probably Texas and Kentucky are more than likely the biggest test for Nebraska that remain. Again, if they get past Kansas, if they get past the winner of Texas A&M and Louisville.
And if Kentucky gets past Creighton.
Yeah, and if Kentucky gets past Creighton. That's going to be a good match.
Yeah. We'll talk Creighton here.
I hope.
I want to stick with the Huskers here because we got Kansas, and obviously you could peek ahead to what that next matchup could be. Is there any chance that because of who the opponent, again, could be for that next round, who it would be and who your coach is, all those factors, how it's been talked about, it's been brought up a couple of times, is there any chance Nebraska might have some troubles because they are peaking a little bit further ahead?
I want to say no, but like you said, the storylines, and even though they Andy Jackson said she hasn't been on social media much, it doesn't really matter. Everybody's talking about it. Her teammates are talking about it. I mean, Danny went down to Runza on West O with the Louisville coaching staff and shut down the Runza. So she's enjoying her time with her former coworkers as they come to Lincoln. I want to say no, that they won't be looking ahead. They've shown the ability to take it one match, one set, 1 point at a time. But that Louisville match is played before them. If Louisville wins, they'll be sitting there like, okay, now we have to win this. So then obviously we want to make it to a championship. It's a national championship or bust for us, but we have to win this. So then Danny can face her former team and we can show that she made the right choice in coming here and what have you. So there's probably some looking ahead, but I think that this team is experienced enough and is hungry enough that they'll have the wherewithal to fight through and deal with Kansas.
Rico, that's my next question then, because this Nebraska roster has been battle tested through the past 2 years of what they've been through. It's the younger roster from the national championship loss to Texas. It's the frustration and now revenge tour that they're on after losing the semifinal to Penn State. But you add in the Danny Busboom Kelly factor, who's under more pressure to perform in these, maybe not even next upcoming matches, but through the rest of the tournament, as every win gets more important, as the teams get fewer? Is it DBK that's facing more pressure to say, hey, we're here, I'm here now, I've got to be able to perform, my team has to be able to step up, I've got to make the right decisions in game and such? Or does the team start to feel that pressure because it's the same conversation they're getting themselves into that they've been in the past 2 years?
I think it's the team. And more specifically, not to call anybody out, but I'm definitely about to. It's Harper Murray. If people remember, which a lot of people remember, her comments after they lost to Texas in the final her freshman year, what the next 3 years were going to be. She said, we're going to win 3 national championships in a row. Well, that didn't happen last year. There's still a chance to win 2 at least. But I do believe that it's the team, because they've been in this situation the past 2 years. They've been in this situation multiple times since their last national championship. And I understand that, none of these players were on that squad or on those squads. But in these last 3 years, they have shown the ability to run through teams and make it to the Final Four of the national championship. And they've fallen short both years in just heartbreaking fashion, in a crazy sweep down in Tampa to Texas, and then getting reverse swept by a Penn State squad that had beaten them before the tournament started to get a share of the Big Ten title. They're 3-time Big Ten champions. They're working their way to get that national championship. I do believe it's the team that is under a lot more pressure. Danny, in her first year, although they've done an amazing job, I don't think the pressure to win a national championship is quite as heavy in year one. I understand that there's parallels between John Cook's first year and him going undefeated and winning a national championship with Nebraska. But I truly believe that for the women on the team, for the Huskers volleyball team, it's the players that are under the most pressure to finally break through that glass ceiling and get that national championship.
Rico, as you let's transition here, unless you have anything on Nebraska. As we transition,
they're that good.
I mean,
yeah.
They really are. I mean,
you have three contenders for National Player of the Year. In all honesty, Bergen Riley probably has the best chance of winning it of the Nebraska players, but it's more than likely going to go to Olivia Babcock of Pitt for the second year in a row, just because of the ridiculous numbers she's putting up. And I understand that people say, and I say as well, that she takes 1 million swings. Of course, she's going to have that many kills, but she does it with such efficiency, and she does it in a way that the ball's going to her, she's still going to get those kills. It's extremely impressive. She's probably going to win that back-to-back National Player of the Year. But if anybody from Nebraska could take it from her, I do believe Bergen Riley has the best shot. Just the way that she's been able to conduct the offense, has upped her defense, and kind of went from a completely different offensive style from John Cook to Danny Busboom Kelly, in the way that she's setting balls much faster and setting the middle regardless of where she is.
Rico, wanted to move on to Creighton here. You mentioned Kentucky as a potential threat to Nebraska stylistically. Ironically enough, the only 2 teams to take more than a set off of Nebraska this year are Creighton and Kentucky, playing tomorrow for a shot at the Final Four. Let's start with the Creighton part of this. How much, and I know you follow Nebraska much more closely than Creighton just because of where your duties are assigned, but how much have you seen them grow from the start of the year where, they put themselves in a position to play every top team in the country, whether it's Penn State, Texas, Kansas, USC, Louisville, they played everybody they possibly could to try and get themselves ready for this moment. How have you seen them grow from early in the year, where the only win they really got there against those top teams was against Kansas, to now where they have the nation's 3rd longest winning streak?
To say that at the beginning of the season, they had to schedule those hard games because they play in a Big East that they've dominated for so long.
Yeah,
that they needed those games in order to host in the first 2 rounds, which they did, and they got through that. But it was also great for them because they were able to see where their flaws were, what the problems with their team was, how their team was constructed, and what they might need to change, who might need to step up, and what they might need to do just a little bit better. And I think that they've done a great job in going from those first few games where, they started the season, what was it? give me 1 second while I find this. They started the season.
So they win
1-2 after their first 3 matches with the 1 win against Kansas. They get swept by Penn State. They get swept by Texas. And people are like, oh my gosh, like Creighton started the year as a top 15 team. Are they not going to be any good? But I mean, they played number 2 Penn State, number 5 Texas. Like it was kind of expect you're playing the defending national champions and a team that was national champions 2 years ago. But
at the time,
to get
much
pushed,
different Penn State team too.
Oh yeah, much different. I mean, they actually had a setter.
I'm told that helps.
It does help when your All-American wants to play for you. So.
Yeah, I mean, kind of crazy. Weird how that works. But Creighton's ability to bounce back from that and to, you're hearing the whispers of like, oh my gosh, like is Brian Rosen actually a good coach and whatever. You go and you beat a Kansas team that is in the Sweet 16. Like it's a really good Kansas team. Granted, that was also a very different Kansas team as they were welcoming in a new head coach as well. But Creighton's path to where they are now has been not the smoothest until they started Big East play, but I love how they've improved upon everything, especially their play at the net. They might not have the largest front in college volleyball, but the way that Kiara Reinhart can get her hands up and block damn near everything has been extremely impressive. And Ava Martin's rise from All-American to, I don't even know if there's another step above All-American, but she's been fantastic this season as well. Has been amazing for Creighton. And those two really have been carrying a lot of water for this Blue Jays team.
So in that match yesterday against Arizona State, I don't know how much you were able to watch. It was a midday broadcast on ESPN2, which it felt like the broadcasters were asleep at the wheel in that one. That was
there was a pretty heavy Arizona State.
They didn't even talk. I don't even know if they knew who Brian Rosen was. if they put a lineup of the coaches of all of them available, I don't know if they would have been like, Brian Rosen, are you the third on the left? I don't know. But
that broadcast was expecting Arizona State to win.
Yes, 1,000,000%. I mean, they're gonna have to dump out half of their Arizona State content that they recorded.
They're like, oh goodness gracious, we have so much Sun Devils content. What are we gonna do with this?
So many packages we made for that.
But on that same note, what do the weapons kind of line up? Because you talked about how good Kentucky is. They handle Cal Poly, and Cal Poly had been kind of the upset team of the tournament so far. With where Kentucky is in terms of their talent, how battle tested they have been because they themselves kind of put themselves through a ringer. The SEC was up a notch this season as well. Can Creighton go basically for offensive weapon against offensive weapon with Kentucky, or is there a different style that they need to attack this matchup if they want to move into the Final Four?
What Creighton needs to do against Kentucky is what they do every year against Nebraska, except they actually need to come out with the win. The way that they play Nebraska, the way Kentucky plays and the way Nebraska plays are pretty similar. And you kind of get that because Craig Skinner is a disciple of John. He comes off the John Cook coaching tree. And, being down there playing Louisville quite often with that rivalry, Danny Busboom Kelly and Craig Skinner played each other quite a bit. They know each other. They have similar styles. And for that reason, I think if Creighton is able to channel some of the energy and some of the fight that they get every year when they play Nebraska, and like you said, one of the few teams to take multiple sets off of the Cornhuskers this year was Creighton and was Kentucky. If they can channel some of that fight and some of that grit that they get when they get up for Nebraska, I think that they'll have a really good chance against Kentucky because they're similar, Nebraska and Kentucky, in the fact that they have extremely talented pin hitters, but Nebraska's middles are so much better than Kentucky's that I think if Creighton can find a way to exploit the middles for Kentucky, that they'll have a really good chance of getting past them. But again, you got to figure out a way first to slow down Ava Hudson and Brooklyn DeLay.
How big is it that Creighton has played in multiple venues, different venues, and even you can't give them credit for playing at the Bob because that match was played at CHI, but those neutral site courts, even though you're on the road, it is at Kentucky. Does it give them an advantage being at an unfamiliar place, already having a game under their belt to get ready for this, but also just kind of adjusting how the hitters need to get their perception and how Mater is going to set them? Does that bleed into this game? Just any sort of comfortability when you've had the ability to travel and see a lot of different venues?
I believe so. I've heard from setters in the past that when you're looking up and you're trying to set the ball, the lighting in the arena is something that they struggle with sometimes. So the ability to be there, to practice, to already have a match in that venue, and to have a match in multiple different venues where you've had to adjust to lighting, you've had to adjust to, the different angles of maybe some windows or what have you, or just how close the crowd is, how loud the crowd is. I think that really helps Creighton in the way that they'll be able to they won't struggle as much even though it's at Kentucky's arena.
Rico, great stuff as always. We appreciate your volleyball expertise. And
I wouldn't call it expertise.
Damon's wondering why you're allowed to join your own show. Do you have a comment?
Damon's wondering why I'm allowed to join. Because, Damon, I'm amazing.
I replied to him, yeah, it's not like he's ever done that.
Yeah, see, that was the right answer.
Yeah. Sorry, dude.
Wow.
My bad. I'm sorry.
All right, Rico, good luck getting out of
why does Damon could if he wanted to. Why doesn't he? Why don't you?
I think he's on a plane, so that's why I think
well,
they have the technology.
Yeah, but he's notably had technology issues on planes. So
yeah, you're right. I wonder if how was he able to find out the hotspot to chime in?
Yeah, does he have like a traveling Cal Crooks with him to be able to help him out?
I mean, I think Benny Mack would be the play there for his technology issues, but I don't know if he does or not.
Yeah,
he might have figured this one out on his own.
Did he have to put on his glasses to type the message, or?
I mean, maybe.
Was it the binoculars?
I'm not gonna.
I can't read.
All right, Rico, enjoy your basement.
I will. It's great down here. I'm gonna play some PlayStation while I'm listening to Evan Stone.
Okay. Very nice.
Could you maybe just work?
Yeah, do your job.
I'll consider it.
Be a producer for once.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. How many clips did I get?
I haven't looked.
Not from this one. Absolutely none. I'm not going to clip myself.
Yeah, you should clip this.
Have you gotten clips out from your own segment?
Yeah,
yet?
if you
I've actually been working on it this whole time.
That's really narcissistic if you do that.
Literally, the entire segment is clipped. Thank you.
What was the best quote that I had earlier?
Yeah.
Let me go back and look.
Hold on. Let me listen to myself.
What did Rico say today?
Oh, you can feel it.
What is that?
What in the world?
Shane's got a bag of drops that we're not even aware of.
You can feel it coming in the air tonight.
Where is that from?
Oh, it was when he had me do the. It was when he had me do the reads for the games earlier in the season.
Nice.
Nice. There you go.
We miss those. Bring back football.
Starts now.
R.I.P.
That's actually Evan Stone coming up next.
Nebraska. Evan Stone starts now.
Well, not quite. We got to take a break.
Not now, but here shortly.
Soon. Starts
here after a commercial break.
All right, Rico. Try to find some more light in your basement, and if anybody sends you down a basket of lotion, just don't do it, man. It's cool.
I actually need lotion. My legs are pretty dry.
All right. Well, never mind then.
No comment.
Rico, we'll talk to you later, buddy.
Bye-bye.
That is Enrique Alvarez-CLARY.
Rico
of Hurrdat Sports. Appreciate him joining us. Give a little volleyball talk.
Yeah.
Needed to get our little primer for the weekend.
That's right.
Great matches, coming up.
But big matchup, Big Ten coming up soon too.
Big matchup, Nebraska. What appears to maybe be their first test of the season against a ranked Illinois team on the road. We'll talk to Evan Stone coming up next. That's awesome. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
We haven't had a defensive identity all year, and everybody gets all rah-rah about our offense, but it's the other end of the floor that's caused us the trouble for the most part. And obviously tonight it was, credit to Nebraska. They beat us every way possible. There's not another facet in the game of basketball that they couldn't kick our rear end with. They did it all. They're playing well. Fred's doing a good job. I mean, when you got ranked mass kind of anchoring that and quarterbacking what they do offensively, it puts a lot of pressure on you. And when you're not connected defensively, when you're guarding individually instead of collectively as a team, they feast on that. Any good offensive team does. We haven't had a defensive identity all year. And everybody gets all rah-rah about our offense, but it's the other end of the floor that's caused us the trouble for the most part. And obviously tonight it was, credit to Nebraska. They beat us every way possible.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's awesome. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you, if you've got any auto body repair needs, Dingman's is the place to go. Go check them out, dingmans.com. You can find their 4 great Omaha area locations, as well as find out all the products and services they have to offer. What you will find is that they've been voted first place Best of Omaha for 20 straight years because they're locally and family owned and operated. They care about this place just as much as you do, and they care about taking care of you as well. Get over to dingmans.com for any of your auto body repair needs. For all of our Illinois needs, we talked to our guy, Evan Stone from 93.5 The Drive in Champaign. Stoney, what's up, bud?
What's going on, guys? How we doing?
Man, we're doing good. Where are you right now? Is that your basement?
Yeah, I thought, if we're doing basement shows real quick, I might as well go ahead and show off my basement.
Your lighting.
Can you give us a tour quick? What's all going on behind you?
Your lighting is much better than Rico's.
You've got a lot of gas station Illinois signs behind you, I see.
A lot of Illini, Swansea City, and then books for the kids. So,
whoa, that is a stack.
Yeah. Well, it's also, I didn't realize it'd be so much crotch angle, but we're doing we're doing pretty good right now. We're making it happen.
All right, well,
I appreciate that. So tell us a little bit about the Illinois basketball season so far. Obviously, they've got the 2 losses, but they're to 2 quality opponents in UConn and Alabama. Outside of that, they've got the quality win against Tennessee. I don't really know what to do with Ohio State yet. I guess we'll figure that out here in the coming weeks. But I guess start with what expectations were with this team. There are several new pieces. And then where has Illinois fallen short of those expectations and maybe exceeded those expectations so far in the season?
Well, I think coming into this year, we weren't quite sure what to expect. I think this was a team that there were so many moving parts. There were so many new guys that were coming in. And I know, like we had talked last year, that team last year was very talented, but they were incredibly frustrating.
Way more talented.
Just the way that they played basketball, it was hunting matchups. It was one-on-one all the time. And you had 2 one-and-dones that are now in the pros. And it was disappointing when you came down the stretch and you couldn't make it past the second round of the NCAA tournament. This team coming in, there's a lot of talent, but it was kind of unknown talent because it was all coming from overseas. So you got guys from Croatia, from Serbia, from Montenegro, and they're playing, professional ball over there, but you don't know how that's going to translate. And so I'm going to be honest. I think this might be my favorite Brad Underwood team that Illinois has had since he's been here. Now they've been incredibly unhealthy. And so I think right now, for the very first time, you're starting to see guys who are getting in shape. You're starting to see guys that are able to run up and down the floor together. They kind of know what they're doing on the floor. And so I think when they went into the Texas Tech game, which was, 3 weeks ago or whatever, they had not had a single practice with every single body yet up till that point. And so now they're starting to get into it. They're starting to get a run, and they're a lot of fun to watch.
So as you kind of look at this team, you mentioned they're finally starting to get healthy. Actually, before we get to that, I have to ask, where did all of, like, is there a connection between Brad Underwood and like Eastern Europe? Like, how did this all happen? It sort of just seemed in the last 2 years where it was just like all of a sudden you have this influx from the Balkans. Like, was it just a philosophy shift to be like, hey, now that we can get some of these pro guys over here, we think this is sort of like a market inefficiency? Like, how did this happen? Because Illinois seems to have exploited this more than anyone else.
Yeah, it was actually a joke a while back because we have an assistant coach, Jeff Alexander, who he wasn't necessarily pulling in the I don't know, the local kids, as we like to call our 50 continental states, but he would travel overseas all the time. We'd be like, well, just send Jeff on a vacation over to Europe and see what happens, and he had a pretty dope recruiting profile, and all of a sudden you started seeing one or two start to come over, and they were kind of bench guys. And then really last year when Kasparis came over and took off, that was kind of the moment. And I think what Coach Underwood saw is what the transfer portal has become, what NIL has become, the wild, wild west. And he saw an opportunity maybe not to be so deep in that and to actually tap into that international market. We're on it. If we're going to be real, you see a couple of guys on our team like David Merkovich, who doesn't necessarily care about the huge NIL dollars. Mihailo Petrovic doesn't necessarily care about the huge NIL dollars. They care about an opportunity to make the league. Like they want to go to the NBA right now because they've already been paid to play basketball. And so now they see this as an opportunity after what Kasparis was able to do last year to come here and to go to the league. And so, yeah, we've had a lot of fun. I don't know if you've seen all the edits of Underwood in his tracksuit and cigarette hanging out of his mouth and ready to fight people in an alley.
It's incredible.
It's awesome. The Balkan Brutes is what we call them because we got, two Ivasiches, Petrovic, Mihailovic, it's just
Stojakovic. Don't forget about
Stojakovic.
Yeah, is the pronunciation guide like the thickest part of the handbook that they hand media when you enter the arena every time?
Well, they had an incredible social media hit where all the guys are walking by and they're teaching you how to say their name. And then Ty Rogers walks on the camera and he's like, "It's Ty." Ty Rogers. And so, yeah, it helps that they all end the same. And so that makes it decently simple.
So as you kind of move forward and looking at this Nebraska game, I know we talked a little bit on your show yesterday about this Nebraska-Illinois matchup, but how much Nebraska have you been able to see this year? Because this is, I think I said it yesterday, this is, I think, the most enjoyable Nebraska team to watch maybe of my lifetime.
Yeah, I watched the Wisconsin game start to finish live. And I don't think Wisconsin is a very good basketball team, but they are not 30 points worse than Nebraska. Like Nebraska showed up and just, told them to bite the curb, and it was intense. And as your guy from Turkey, you got a little international flavor as well. He's bleeding from every orifice of his face and he's pumping the crowd up. I mean, that was a moment that was so un-Nebraska ball that even I was like, all right, I'm kind of in. Like this is kind of awesome. So I watched Wisconsin. I watched the Creighton game. Obviously two great performances for them. I'm excited to see what this team does, Nebraska, when, as you said, kind of faces their first real test. And I think that's what tomorrow's going to be for.
What have you seen from Nebraska that you think might give Illinois a little bit of trouble?
Well, Rink Mast is a dude. I mean, and he's a guy that can do it from almost anywhere on the floor. And it'll be very interesting to see what Illinois does against him, because they've done multiple different strategies to guard big guys who can go around the floor. So obviously they'll start with Tommy on him, Ivasic, who was here last year, and try and stretch the floor with him from there and try and keep him out of the post. But they've done everything from guarding a five this year. They've done everything from Tommy to his brother Z. They've thrown Benjamin Humrickhouse, who's more of a 3, a 4, stretch 4 on him, and all the way up to Kylan Boswell guarding a 5 guy. Texas Tech's coach called him a stump in his postgame. He said, I say that in the most positive way possible. You can call someone a stump. That's Kylan Boswell, because
that boy thick.
Yeah, he's a middle linebacker. Like he's 6'1", and he's just thick. He's a stump, and so they'll put him on the 5 guy and just push him out of the post. and frustrate him. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they attack Rink Mast, what they let him do. Are they going to let him get his and just shut everyone else down, which is kind of was their strategy against Ohio State and Bruce Thornton this past weekend. But that's the guy that worries me. But other than that, I'm not worried.
So you mentioned Kylan Boswell there for a second, and I know it's weird to say about a guy that I believe leads your team in scoring. Him and he's right there. There's another guy at 15 points a game too.
Stojakovic.
Yeah. So like it's weird to say this about a guy that leads your team in scoring, but he sort of feels like the X factor a little bit for Illinois, where like it seems like there's more variance in his game maybe than there are with other guys, and what maybe you get from him from efficiency and consistency on a night-to-night basis. Like how early do you know if it's going to be a night where he can kind of dominate and be that guy that can kind of carry the team a little bit versus a game where maybe his shot selection is a little bit more erratic and things like that? And how does Illinois overcome that if they get the second version of him?
Yeah, well, I would say this. I think this year, Kylan has had maybe his best shot selection of any year of his career. I mean, just the way that he doesn't have to be the guy that goes out and get his, which is what he's had to be in the past. What you'll see typically is in the first couple of minutes of the game, Kylan is facilitating and trying to get other guys shots. We're trying to see what happens. If you get the Kylan Boswell who's attacking the rim, you've got the good Kylan Boswell.
100%.
If he's getting to the hole, if he's got his head he's putting his chin on the rim, you got the good Kylan, who I'm not going to be terribly worried about. If you got a Kylan who's chucking step back threes, you got the bad Kylan, which we have not seen so far this year. Which has been very encouraging. But then on the flip side, you look at this game on Tuesday against Ohio State, and Kylan Boswell and Tommy Ivisic are your veterans. Those are your kind of top guys. And they went combined 11 points, 3 for 13 shooting, 2 for 8 from 3. I think it was 3 rebounds. And you win comfortably at Ohio State because you've got a guy like Keaton Wagler, who's a true freshman, a real true freshman out of Kansas, who's an absolute stud and went off for 23 points. Andre Stojakovic can get 15. He's actually still yet to play his best game. And so you got all these other guys that Kylan can now kind of take some pressure off of himself, not take bad shots, because anybody on the floor can hit a shot.
So, Evan, I want to switch gears here a little bit with you before we let you go. I know you're a huge college football fan. We talk college football all the time. What do you make of the potential coaching candidates at Michigan now that we've seen the Sherrone Moore thing play out? And can you believe that after all of the nonsense, which is even more than I realize, and nonsense is probably not a strong enough word, I just don't know what else to call it. I guess cancerous like crap that their AD has allowed to go on under his watch. Like what is that job to you now, and who do you even look at as possible candidates? Like at this point, if they hired Art Briles, I'd be like, that checks out.
I don't know. What's Jerry Sandusky doing right now? It's crazy. I think that job right now, I'm waiting for the 50 Cent documentary to come out about what's happening in Michigan.
God, biggest? Oh, Ryan Day could produce this. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean that'd be crazy. I think that job right now, Michigan football is always going to be a great job. It's always going to be one of the top jobs in college football. But that job with Ward Manuel as the AD is incredibly tarnished right now. If I'm a head coach and Ward Manuel is going to be the one hiring me, I don't know if I'm necessarily chasing that job. How he has a job right now is
unbelievable,
incredibly insane. Like I don't know what's happening in Ann Arbor. But I know the normal names that have been thrown out there: DeBoer, Jed Fish. I think it would be absolutely hilarious if Matt Campbell went to Michigan, because Penn State does not deserve him. And that kind of under the radar been his dream job forever. And so I think he also, though, probably knew this was probably coming and was like, I'm not going to touch that with the 10-foot pole because he's a good man. Kurt Signetti would be awesome at Michigan because screw Indiana. And so I don't know what they do here. I don't know. They're in danger zone of going that Penn State route where nobody wants to touch the job because of the toxicity that's around it right now.
I threw out 2 names earlier that I think make sense because they're desperate, both Michigan and these coaching candidates. I look at Brian Kelly and Jimbo Fisher and think of those are names of a scale that Michigan would probably be able to talk themselves into, but also guys that are desperate enough to take on the toxicity that exists around that program to get to that level again.
Yeah, I think they both suck as coaches, but so I'm okay with that. They can go to Michigan. I think honestly, I think the grand slam hire that Michigan would get right now is Marcus Freeman. Like if they could grab Marcus Freeman out of Notre Dame, which I doubt he would
0% chance.
But that's the dude that they need to chase after and say, listen, you can go 10-2 at Notre Dame and not make the playoff. Or you can come here and get $1 billion and run Michigan.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance.
Yeah, see, the difference, though, is that Marcus Freeman's like an actual thinking human being and has like emotion.
Yeah.
Brian Kelly would say, $1 billion? I don't care how people are treated. I'm good for that. Like Marcus Freeman cares what other people feel, so...
Yeah, I can't wait to hear Brian Kelly's Michigan accent.
Yeah, he's going to come out talking like a Youper.
He's going to forget his accent.
Also, here. Brian Kelly, like, sort of indirectly killed a guy at Notre Dame. So, like, you know, like, he seems like a guy that would take the job. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, if I'm a Michigan fan, I mean, first of all, that sucks. But second of all, like
what would you want?
I want Ward Manuel gone. Like that's the ultimate top billing thing. Like I don't want him touching this hire whatsoever. Yeah. Now I will say Sherrone Moore never felt like more than a placeholder. Like he never felt like he was the guy that was gonna like lead Michigan long term. Mm-hmm. And so you know Shefty was out. Adam Schefter was doing his press tour the other day about we got to hear Sherrone's side of the story.
Do we?
And I don't think we do actually. But I would not be surprised if Ward Manuel, set this whole thing up as a honey pot sting operation to get Sherrone Moore gone.
Man, that is wild. That's Evan Stone.
What a way to end.
You're like, let's not touch that. Let's get out of this.
I have no further comments. Where can people find you, Evan?
You can find me on the gram at the Evan Stone, as you see on the bottom of the. Oh, you put a college pastor on there? Well, I've said some things.
Yeah, it didn't look great for the lower third for some of the comments.
It's fine.
He's good.
Oh, you know, it's I'm a real human. So that's it. There's nowhere else you can find me. I'm not anywhere cool.
Well, I mean, they can find you on 93.5 every day.
Yeah, it says that.
All right.
College pastor to the crotch shot. Evan Stone.
Yeah, as I'm wearing pants though. It's not like I showed up like not wearing pants. I just didn't know. This is like I don't know. I could have done this, I guess, but now I'm looking.
You got games?
Now you look Now you look like somebody.
This feels like how DB would do if DB was doing kind of like a phone video interview. It'd be like.
Yeah. See, DB's he's gonna text you. He's gonna be mad at you now.
Strays.
Hey, listen. DB doesn't respond to all my texts anymore, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even work for him.
Welcome to the club, man. That's just how
I feel no sympathy for you. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he was returning him as much as he was before.
Well, hey, we were buds for a while. I hit him up with Neal Street Blues, and he was enjoying that. And then I got to give him a new recommendation, I guess.
There you go. Evan, we appreciate it as always. Enjoy the game this weekend. Are you going?
Yep, I'll be there. Do you want a prediction?
Yeah, let's get it. What do we got?
Yeah, Illinois by 1 million, in my
Okay.
unbiased
All right,
opinion.
All right.
So
This is why DB doesn't text you back.
hey, listen, Nebraska, they're coming here for wrestling, man. Y'all coming out?
No, I'm not.
All right.
I do need to come out and see you though. We'll try and figure something out this summer.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I'm not coming in the winter. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, dude. I just shoveled the driveway. But, at least Fitty's not mad at me, so I can't complain about nothing.
Is there anybody worse to have a grudge against you than Fitty said?
Dude, that guy's
Potentially
hilarious.
Potentially Ryan Day.
We don't know. We don't know yet.
Yeah. We don't know.
Evan,
We don't
we'll talk to you later. We appreciate you as always. Enjoy the game tomorrow, all right?
See you guys.
That is Evan Stone from 93.5 The Drive in Champaign. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we will get to Bet on It, brought to you by Warhorse Sportsbook and Casino. That's awesome. I'm Ravi. More Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next.
We haven't had a defensive identity all year, and everybody gets all rah-rah about our offense, but it's the other end of the floor that's caused us the trouble for the most part. And obviously tonight it was, credit to Nebraska. They beat us every way possible. There's not another facet in the game of basketball that they couldn't kick our rear end with. They did it all. They're playing well. Fred's doing a good job. I mean, when you got ranked mass kind of anchoring that and quarterbacking what they do offensively, it puts a lot of pressure on you. And when you're not connected defensively, when you're guarding individually instead of collectively as a team, they feast on that. Any good offensive team does.
I had a really great year last year and was just kind of looking for some different opportunities this year. The free agency process was kind of crazy. That day or two that it all kind of happened. I just had a lot of conversations with my parents, my now husband, and they kind of were like trying not to tell me this, but I could tell they were like, this is kind of an obvious choice. And looking back, like it kind of was an obvious choice. I mean, I'm in my hometown, with the closest people that I know. The fan base here is obviously incredible. And then I was really excited about the coaching staff. And then also as players started to sign and I kind of saw what this team was going to be, I got more and more excited about playing with these girls. So yeah, it was kind of an obvious choice at the end of the day.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's awesome. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. It is time for Bet On It, brought to you by War Horse Casino and Sportsbook, the best place in Nebraska to place your sports bets. And not just your sports bets. They got table games. They've got slots, whatever you want to do. They also, they got a restaurant out there. They got the ale house.
Restaurant.
No, you get some food. Man, make a whole evening out of it. Lincoln or Omaha locations. Listen, we live in Nebraska. You got to drive to make your bet anyway, right?
What?
You have to. That's just what happens. Stay in Nebraska, all right? Don't be a loser. Don't send your money to Iowa. Keep your money right here. Go to Warhorse Casino and Sportsbook. Download their app as well.
They've already taken so much from us.
They have. They've taken too much from us. Do not give them more. You keep your money right here in Nebraska. It is time for Bet On It. We've got bowl games this weekend, Austin.
Oh, really?
We have bowl games this weekend.
Oh, that's surprising.
We also have
Army-Navy.
One of my favorite games of the year, Army and Navy. Army is a 6-point dog to Navy coming into this one. Austin, who do you like?
This is my favorite tradition in sports.
Army-Navy game?
Army-Navy.
The uniforms are always on point.
Every year that I've been able and eligible as a rightful citizen of these United States to bet between the men and women who fight for our country and who will win, I always bet the tie to see how long it'll go.
You bet a tie?
Every year. The odds are insane because, as you know, college football does not really go to ties very often. But I don't want to play a favorite. I don't want that to come back and bite me eventually.
Is there even a way?
They have to call the game, is what they have to
I would say, you have to just, both teams have to agree to say we are done.
It's like plus 21,000 or something like that. The last I saw.
If you put $100 on that every year, one of these years.
One
of these years. You only got to hit it once.
We're going to have a great wedding if it hits this year.
You only got to hit it once.
So realistically in this game, this is the truest form of rivalry game outside of really like even the Iron Bowl where the spread usually doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Sometimes there is such a discrepancy between the two teams. 6.5 is a lot for a game like this. You're basically saying one entire possession is going to go one way or the other. I think it is a one possession game. Because of that, I think I like Army.
Yeah, I think I'm a big Jeff Monken guy.
Yes.
Love Jeff Monken.
Notably.
I think I'm going to go Army in this one as well. I think maybe they pull the upset over 9-2 Navy. I'm going with the Army.
Can Navy still make the playoff if they win? They'd be a 10-2 team.
It is a travesty. What are we even doing in this sport if Navy doesn't make the playoff at 10-2?
They're not in the conversation.
That's what you sound like, Texas. You sound stupid.
Navy did not lose to Florida, though.
Famously.
Yeah.
They did not. Let's move on to.
Say, I know what. Let's have a committee.
Famously.
Good point.
Mike Leach, RIP. Pour one out for my guy. Boise State.
Get us a committee.
10-point dog to Washington in the first bowl game of the season.
I like Washington. I've liked Washington all year. I think that they have dramatically underperformed. You look at some of these games and just the numbers and such, and they don't really make sense to you when you look in terms of like the logos and who you think would represent. Always a big opportunity for an underdog to really upset a spread. I just like Washington too much.
I'm going with Washington as well. I do wonder a little bit. There's maybe a little Jedfish distraction with the Michigan job out there.
Maybe.
But I do think they're the better team. I'm going to go. Honestly, bowl games are such a crapshoot. I'm going to bet on them because that's what I do.
Yes.
But they're such a crapshoot just because of late opt-outs, things like that. And honestly, just trying to identify motivation in these games is almost impossible.
Even individual player, like you said, just like individual player motivations, because we saw last year with, was it Miami and Ward, that he left the game halfway through the game.
At halftime. And
that changes dramatically how you would bet that game if you knew that going in.
Or if you knew the motivations of Nebraska and Ramir Johnson going in.
Yes.
Totally different thing there, right? So I do think it's super interesting. And I would say, don't bet on bowl games with money that you're not okay just flushing down the toilet, because it really is a crap.
As I just said, I bet for a tie.
To each their own.
Yes.
I do want to stick with one. I want to move to the NFL here. Stick with football.
Okay,
Move to the NFL.
Yep.
I want to start with your
Thank you
Carolina Panthers, because
you forgot NFC South leading Carolina Panthers.
You can thank the Falcons for that.
And the Panthers, they win.
Sure. But
wow.
They've been much better this year than I think anyone anticipated, including yourself.
I bet them to win the NFC South every year.
You also bet Army and Navy to tie every year. I don't think your betting history is a good indication of what you believe will actually happen.
Fair.
Super weird line this week, though.
Yes.
Just a 2.5-point favorite at the dreadful New Orleans Saints. What's happening here?
NFC South's always weird. Carolina's already lost at home to New Orleans earlier this season. We are due for a Bryce Young game. We are due.
How does that go? Okay.
Like it's not going to – there's always a game. There's 3 forms of Bryce Young. There's one where he balls out, throws for 400 yards and like 5 touchdowns. There's another where he can't get to 100 yards and doesn't throw an interception. Or he throws a couple of interceptions but then plays well in the second half. You're like, okay, that was Bryce Young. I think we're probably in the middle tier. The turnovers will probably hurt you, especially if they're early. But Carolina is just a better team, and this game matters much more than it did back in September when they lost. I think that Carolina should be able to handle this. They're a much different team than what they were. Also, Rico Dowdle, 71 rushing yards away from 1,000 on the season. He'd be the first undrafted free agent to go back-to-back years with 2 different franchises.
Nice.
To be able to get 1,000 rushing yards. I have to go Carolina, and I would take Dowdle's over in rushing yards.
So this is super weird here because all the motivation should be with the Panthers, right?
Yes.
Like they have a legitimate opportunity to win their division.
Yeah.
We're coming down the stretch here. Like they need these games. They have to get these.
And the Saints should be motivated to lose.
Yes. That's why the line makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I'm going to pull a DB here that makes me nervous. I'm going with the Saints because the line makes no sense.
And I can't argue that. I have to convince myself that that 2.5 is just, they're just trying to make things interesting. But Vegas always knows.
It makes zero sense considering what the motivations of the two teams are at this point in the season. All right. 2 teams that are still motivated to try and make something of their seasons in a real sense and not in a tanking get pick sense like the Saints are. The Lions and the Rams. I think this might be my favorite game of the weekend. Maybe. I don't know. Packers-Broncos is up there as well.
This one has the most stakes to me because it either proves the Rams are the best team, and not just the NFC, but maybe the NFL, or it might put the Lions in such a spot that they can't dig themselves out of. Because the NFC is so tight, you cannot lose like games to other teams that have either beaten or played. And we are getting into a point when not even multiple, everyone has multiple losses, but you look at the 5-6 loss teams that are going to be fighting.
Especially in the NFC.
10-7 is not going to get you in.
Especially in the NFC, it's starting to get pretty dicey there.
Yeah.
The Lions are 6-point dogs at the Rams. Matthew Stafford has absolutely balled out this year. I think I need to go Lions here, though. I think they need this one more.
And I like the Dan Campbell factor, knowing that he will always go for extra points, probably when needed. Not in the terms of like he's going to kick a field goal to cover a spread by any means, but there are going to be chances late in the game if they're down. Even if they're down big, they're going to be going for it, rushing for touchdowns, trying to make it as close a game as possible to give themselves any sort of a chance. Onside kicks, weird stuff. I would lean toward Lions if it gets weird.
All right, we'll run through these last 3 real quick here. Packers, 2.5-point favorites on the road at the Broncos. These are 2 teams I don't really believe in either of them strongly. Like I get sort of not ick, but just hesitation from both of them. I think I got to go Broncos on the road here as 2.5-point home dog, or Broncos at home here as 2.5-point dogs at home.
I cannot bet for the Broncos. I agree with all of your logic. The Packers are confusing to me as well. I don't think they really know what their true identity as a team is.
Yeah.
It is Toyota-thon, though, so Jordan Love is going to ball out, and you have to lean that. I guess you have to technically kind of lean towards the Packers, but the Broncos defense is also good enough that Bo Nix is just – he can do whatever. The Broncos defense will always keep them in the game.
Yeah.
2.5 is not enough for me to feel like, okay, Broncos can keep it that close. I think Packers cover.
So another line that makes absolutely zero sense is the Chargers as 5.5-point dogs at KC. Kansas City has to win this game or they are, I think, eliminated from playoff contention.
Yes.
Or next to it, basically. The Chargers are better. They're just better than Kansas City. This is another one of those where the line makes zero sense, but because I have no logical consistency, I'm actually not going to trust Vegas on this one. I think the Chiefs are cooked. Like I think they have not given up, but I think they understand that this season is not going to go the way they wanted or needed it to. I've got the Chargers here as 5.5-point dogs.
It's going to come down to their last game of the year because they're playing the Raiders to whether or not they're going to make it into the playoffs.
Wow, Raiders.
That's just the way it's going to happen.
Justin Herbert is banged up. He's obviously got the hand issue. Maybe that's more
we've
of an
got
issue.
Amarion Hampton back.
That is true. More of an issue than what we know of, too. I'm going to go Chiefs on this because Chiefs, their last life on the line. And there's also something – Chiefs have always somehow found a way when they're in December that they can kind of corral some of the AFC West a little bit. So maybe they just have that bit of an advantage. I'll go Chiefs just because they are the favorite. 6.5 seems like a lot, but I still feel like I have to lean towards the Chiefs just because of everything else that goes into it.
All right, great game here in the AFC East. Bills are 1.5-point favorites at the Patriots. I just think the Patriots are good.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to win this game. So I don't have like a ton of logical reasoning here. I just think the Patriots are good this year.
Two things can be true. The Patriots could have an easy schedule, and they could also be good.
Yeah.
Correct. And I think that the Patriots are a much better matchup and entirely a better team, and they actually know their winning formula for the season better than Buffalo knows it at this point, because Buffalo has just basically said, Josh Allen, please save us at different opportunities this year. Did it last week against the Bengals. I don't know if he can do it again because Vrabel's ability as a coach to squeeze you out of time to make game-saving plays is very significant. And New England has the perfect offensive setup for that. May doesn't make a lot of mistakes. I feel like you have to lean towards the Patriots until they prove otherwise.
There you go. That is Bet On It, brought to you by Warhorse Casino and Sportsbook. Make sure you get out there, download their app as well. They've got locations in Lincoln and in Omaha. It's the best place to place your sports bets anywhere around here. Don't you dare cross that river. Don't you do it. Also,
always good to threaten your fans.
Shout out to all of us who stood by and kept starting Kyle Pitts every week. All of you steadfast fantasy owners who sat there and saw him quadruple his touchdown total on the season in one night, who were steadfast and believed that eventually this day would come. Congratulations to you, Kyle Pitts fantasy owners. I started him in 2 leagues this week, and I think I'm going to win.
Thank you for putting the Panthers in first place. Thank you. Thank you for your service, Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle Pitts, and thank you, fantasy owners. That's Hurrdat Sports Live. We'll be back on Monday.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.